we are tonight. So absolutely thrilled to be a part of it.
We know how iconic Essendon and Collingwood have become over the past couple of decades, but you actually played on Anzac Day before it became a tradition. So Crows in Melbourne, 1993. Do you remember much about that?
No, I do not. Give me the score.
9 points that you won by. But yeah, it was bang on Anzac Day. Not sure if there was any sort of ceremonies or anything like that at that point. 93, which is a few years before my time. But
yeah, I don't think so. I mean, when you have a look at how Anzac Day is built around now, I think we're talking 25, 30 years. So you have to still sort of go back. That was well before. I think we recognised it, but they don't honour it like they do today. So
certainly wouldn't have had the emotion that today's games certainly have. Port Adelaide preparing to run out on the Adelaide Oval. Crowd slowly building tonight here in Adelaide. We're probably eyeing, at the moment, 30 to 35,000. Hopefully it builds across the next half an hour and the build up to the ball up. Out there in the middle as well as Port Adelaide prepare to run on is a guard of honour for the Power that features current military members. They've got their kids and their parents out there as well who are part of the Power to Thrive program. We'll mention that across the night, all the work that Port Adelaide do through the community to support their veterans and the relationship they have with the Australian Defence Force as well. So Port Adelaide now running out onto the Adelaide Oval, a record of 2-4, and as Tom mentioned before, a close 3-point loss to the Hawks last week. We'll see if they can back it up here tonight against the Cats. Alongside Rod Jamieson is our 7-time All-Australian, triple premiership Crow, and the former league best and fairest winner, Ebony Marinoff. Good to see you, Noffy.
No, good to be here. I feel like I've been living here lately. It's a bit crazy, but no, excited. I've obviously never been a part of an Anzac Day match, so I'm super excited.
Not only that, but you're voting on the Peter Badcoat medal tonight.
Yes, I forgot that while I was saying that. Aaron, you gave me the honour of that, so that's super exciting. I don't think I've had such an honour on the other side of the fence. Certainly have people voting for me, but I get to do it, so that's fun.
No pressure at all. I mean, last week you were the one fighting for Taylor Walker to get in the votes in the victory over St Kilda, and he ended up with the 10 coaches' votes. So I think you know your stuff, Noffy. You'll be all right.
It does fulfil me when I mean, you never know, obviously, with the coaches' votes. I certainly do love when you get the coaches' votes and you see, 1, 2, 2, 3, like in the coaches are completely, but no, I was bang on with the Taylor one, so maybe a bit more trust from you, crew, next time.
Certainly more than Jamo, I think, at times, who tends to have a couple of rogue votes in the Footballer of the Year. But
well, we might as well get it out of the way. Geelong, special mention, Cam Guthrie.
There is a couple of late changes. This was a funny one because when teams came through via Champion Data and those who would have been looking on the AFL app, everyone was as named. But there have been a few late swaps, which is very traditional Geelong and not so much Port Adelaide. So Todd Marshall is crook, out with illness, means Jack Watkins comes in for his 6th game. He played last night against Norwood in their loss, had 25 touches and a goal, and now has to back it up with a performance here at the Adelaide Oval, Noffy, which is double duty.
Well, we probably all know in the footy world the Logan Morris story. So it's quite common, only because AFL clubs like to give all players the opportunity to play games, and I think we've seen in terms of match fitness, or if you're a player, you want to play, whether that's at Sanford or AFL. So the opportunity presents for Watkins, but that's going to be a harsh 24 hours and certainly recovery Sunday tomorrow, I'm sure.
I was a little worried looking last night that, all 3 of their emergencies were playing, and I thought, do they know something we don't? Or, I don't know, it was a bit of a gamble and it probably hasn't worked out.
It's an interesting one, though. Why would they go with someone that has actually played and not go with someone that hasn't played?
Well, all 3 did, so they didn't...
Zach Thurger played as well?
What's that, sorry?
Zach Thurger played as well?
So Mitch Zetto and Brandon Zerk-Thatcher were the 3 emergencies, and all of them were there last night. So
it's a bit of a learning.
Take your pick. Although that being said, we'll get into it in a moment, but I'm shocked that Zerk-Thatcher hasn't got a game because Port's tools down back have been pretty limited through the year due to injury, and poor Zerk just can't seem to get into the team. The late change for Geelong, Brad Close is in, the local product out of Glenelg. Gets a crack after being managed last week, and Sam de Koning out managed, which is a very Chris Scott decision. We haven't seen a lot of them this year, but back to his best, the master coach. Cats making their way out onto the Adelaide Oval as well, a record of 4-2 this season. Had a massive 75-point win over the Dogs last Friday, and as Tom mentioned before, a good record here at the Adelaide Oval. They won the last 5 and the last 7 in this state. If you want to get in touch across the night as well, the text line 0437 774 774. Let's start on the Cats, Noffy. I mentioned it before, that big win over the Dogs, that even though there were a few injuries in the later stages of the game, they certainly got on top of them early. I think it was Geelong's night, and feels like they might be flying under the radar a bit with kind of how they're going. The victories have been pretty solid, and really the only big loss was opening round against the Suns, where they probably were caught napping.
Absolutely, and I don't think we can forget about that Easter Monday clash as well, certainly. I actually saw Danger today, and we spoke through, because curious, I'm like, what happened? And 90 seconds in the game, if you're 6 points up, you should really tend to find a way in terms of game management. So I feel like that was one that let slip, and that, the form line of round one as well. But I feel like you don't talk about them a lot because they're just so consistent, and they're not someone that's just come out and got all this new star power, or they're always up at the top of the mark. So they probably get a little bit harshly the credit to, because they're always consistently up there on the mark. But I think one thing about Geelong is they always time their form like at the right times, and I don't know if that's genius Chris Scott, or it's just how they manage their players, or it's how they work into the season and allow other than the last year's grand final, just like to play consistent footy, the best footy in September. You speak, to the greats of the game, and you do want to be playing your best footy in September. And as an athlete and as a player, you want to be playing your best footy at the most important times. But certainly this season, I feel like they're in form, and certainly there to compete again at finals. And I just can't go past the likes of Holmes and Smith. Like, they're just a 1-2 punch. Their ability to, especially when you watch them live, like, they just cover the ground. I'll be really intrigued to see how Port really match that speed and that endurance out of the midfield, because I certainly think that's where the game can be broken open, just with those two key players in that.
So 17 of the last 19 seasons they've featured in September. And the management thing you touched on. So College Asney's managed heading into this game, as is Wiltshire, and now De Koning. Close comes back in after having a rest. So they just rotate players to keep them consistently fresh. And it works tried and true, Jamo. And the weird part is, like, I was a bit worried about the Cats, given they got blown out in the grand final and what that can do mentally to you. But it hasn't really phased them. They've lifted off the canvas and they're ready to fly early in the season.
Well, I think opening round for me was a shock. They got belted by Gold Coast, and I went, oh, here we go. But they just continue to find a way. They do manage the team really well. I think Chris Scott seems to be really composed around how he doesn't seem to be concerned too much in terms of the result, and he manages his team so well. And they all step up, they play a role, and when you have a look at the stats coming into this game and how good they've been across different aspects of the game, they just get it right. They seem to get it right majority of the time.
It's a wonder that opening round. That might have been an anomaly, with their 4-2, they lose by 1 point to Hawthorn. Gold Coast have really done nothing since then.
It's also the classic, you play the grand final, so you have a shorter off-season.
That's right. It's up there on the Gold Coast opening round, those sorts of things. Since then, as you touched on, Eb, they've been sensational. And, you can't give Chris Scott enough credit, because every time he comes here, he's got a plan. That I still remember that qualifying final when they came over. Port were the red-hot favourites, and they just picked them apart. And, Port were shell-shocked and really didn't recover from that, and the quality of coaching of Chris Scott in that space.
So the plan tonight, and you mentioned this before, Noffy, Port Adelaide's superstars have really been carrying them the last few weeks, and they feel like Geelong have the perfect counterpunch for all of them. So Zach Butters and O'Sheen Mullen is a matchup that's just going to be diabolical. And then, you've got Mitch Georgiades as the talisman down back. No Sam De Koning tonight, but Jack Henry can match up pretty well on him as well. You've got Tom Stewart floating around. And then up forward, who lines up on Jeremy Cameron? There's some concerns there in terms of the pillars of how you match up compared to Geelong and Port Adelaide right now. 100%.
And when I was talking about the 1-2 punch in Holmes and Smith, I didn't even mention the matchup that Butters will get. And I feel like since Connor Rosie has gone out, it's been impressive to see what Zach's been able to do. I think we all know what a talented player he is, but in terms of just like that leadership and that carry the team mentality, get on my shoulders, has been super impressive. But he's going to have Mullen on his absolute back all game tonight. Like, how do they compete with that? Like, who's stepping up tonight? Is it up to, the likes of Wines? Does Bergman go in there? Like, I'm really intrigued to see how Carl manages that, because you would think that they would have all idea that is going to be a matchup coming into this game.
Well, I think for me, I reckon they've got too many, because I think Mullen goes to Butters. They reckon Bergman's going to go to Cameron. Like, who's actually going to attack and who's going to get going, get hold of the footy? So, and then when you have a look at, like, the Cats have won their last 5 here at Adelaide Oval. They're the number one inside 50 team in the competition. They've scored more times than not when they go in their forward half clearances, number one. Like, they've belted Port Adelaide by multiple numbers. Port Adelaide is seriously on the back foot in the corner before the bounce even goes down.
You got Mark O'Connor that they've brought in this week, which I thought was interesting as well. So maybe that's a Jason Horne-Francis matchup. I know he's a bit taller, but he can tag really well. So I rate what Chris Scott does so much because he has the plan, and this tagging stuff, some teams don't do it, and that doesn't because it doesn't suit their system. But surely when you look at a game and you go, who can beat us tonight? It's Zach Butters and Jason Horne-Francis. We're going to try and stop them first, and we've got Bailey Smith and Max Holmes will get you on the other way, because the way that Bailey Smith runs, and I was at Crows training this week, and I've seen some hard runners in my time, and I was there for the men's, but the women are still, they're training before. This is not a part of their official programming. The whole team had finished, and Ed Marinoff was out there still training, doing extras. I've got the video footage that we should get up on the ABC social page. I said to her as a joke, oh, what, did you do 20 extras? And she goes, I was actually 16. But that is the type of stuff that makes an elite player, and it's so important. And just that insight for Eb, that's what she needs to do to be the best, and that's what what Bailey does, and we've seen it in the first 6 rounds. He works harder than anyone. That's why he's averaging 30-plus disposals.
Max Holmes, throw him in there. Yeah. Tom Atkins. Like, I think what I continually love about Geelong is they are role players when they start out, but then they end up becoming seriously offensive good players with this defensive action. And the culture and environment, when they could go to other clubs, they stick around and stay, and then you get players that actually want to come too. So it's a tremendous blend and mix.
Thoughts of Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff with you tonight for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport as part of Anzac Day. The Hawks defeating the Suns by 49 earlier at Launceston. Collingwood defeating Essendon by 77. Scott Pendlebury with his 4th Anzac medal. We're gearing up for the bounce down here between Port Adelaide and Geelong. The late change is Jack Watkins in for Todd Marshall. Sam de Koning's out for Brad Close. We've just got a shot on the big screen out there of a 103-year-old World War II veteran who is Chief Petty Officer Reg Swanborough. He's located next to the bugler for the pre-game ceremony that's about to get underway. Port Adelaide and Geelong lining up, and for the first time in history, we have 2 AFL players wearing medals or ribbons. Corey Durden's got his great-grandfather's medals. Jordan Sweet's got his ribbon bar as well, as we prepare for the observance here at the Adelaide Oval as part of Anzac Day. All gearing up in readiness at the moment. Jared Walsh standing by as well ahead of Port Adelaide and Geelong. The Cats with a white strip that features gum trees. Port Adelaide with their traditional Guernsey, but does have a couple of white strips up near the shoulders that honours the Navy as their 125th anniversary.
Good evening, everyone. The Australian Football League, along with the Port Adelaide and Geelong football clubs, invite you to join the coaches, players and umpires as we honour the Anzacs and all those that gave their lives in service of their country. Our thoughts too are with those currently on active service. If able, would you please stand and remove your hats for the Anzac observance. To join us on this occasion, we welcome RSL SA President Brad Flaherty to recite the ode.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Would you please remain standing for the national anthem of New Zealand, to be performed by Army musician David Portakevich, followed by the Australian national anthem performed by Cardia Labazetta. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the game.
Another brilliant ceremony on a special day, one that ties so close to the heart of Port Adelaide, the 22nd year that they've hosted an Anzac appeal game. More than 160 past and present players have served in the armed forces and have been part of the football club. And as Corbin Middlemass mentioned earlier on ABC Sport, by the end of the Vietnam War, 31% of the players who were in the VFL at the time had served. It's a cause so close to Australian rules, and one that we rightly honour and commemorate our past and present servicemen and women here at the Adelaide Oval. The build-up to Port Adelaide and Geelong tonight. You can get in touch throughout the call on 0437 774 774 earlier. Hawthorn defeating Gold Coast by 49 points in Launceston. So that is 11 in a row at the venue for the Hawks, 6 in a row this season in terms of wins. Jack Gunston with 5 goals there. And at the MCG, Collingwood knocking off Essendon by 77 points. Scott Pendlebury, 43 touches, a career high, and wins his 4th Anzac medal to go with his 2 goals for the occasion. And welcome to everyone joining us from the MCG for Port Adelaide and Geelong tonight at the Adelaide Oval as we continue your Anzac Day fixture on ABC Sport. 2 late changes. Jack Watkins is in for Port Adelaide, fresh after playing for the Redlegs last night. He replaces Todd Marshall, who is ill. And for Geelong, Brad close enough to being managed at the expense of Sam de Koning, who's having a rest now as a result of the late change there. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you tonight. And alongside us are premiership players Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff as well. A little bit of breaking news as well for our listeners in South Australia who weren't at the G earlier. Ollie Hollands is going to be a late out later for Fremantle and Carlton. He flew to Perth to be around his teammates, but the call has been made to return after an emotional week for he and his family. So Matt Cottrell will come in for Ollie Hollands in the game following this one, Fremantle and Carlton, which you can hear from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the AFL Extra button. We are moments away from ball up here at the Adelaide Oval, so it's a good time to check in with Braden Ingram downstairs and see what the vibe is like at the Adelaide Oval. Welcome, Braden.
Good evening, team and Aaron. Yeah, it's been a sweaty day in South Australia. Got to the high 20s. It's still 23 degrees, not a breath of wind, and not going to have an issue with wind, but it's certainly a night where you feel like you almost need the mosquito repellent. Zach Butters, the stand-in power captain, has won the toss and is kicked to the Riverbank stand end, so the southern stand end here. As you mentioned, Jack Watkins coming into the side. Aaron, this is actually his third game of footy in 6 days. So he played at Alberton on Sunday, he played last night against the Redlegs, had 25 at a goal, and now he's out here tonight. He'll start on the bench as the late in for Todd Marshall. Also on the bench, Christian Moraes, Ollie Wines, Ewan McKinlay, and also Josh Lai. For the Cats, it's Jack Bowes, James Warple, Ollie Henry, Zach Guthrie, Mark O'Connor starting on the bench on Anzac Day.
Thanks, Braden. Who wins and why? Jamo Noffy, where are we leaning tonight?
Oh, I think clearance inside 50, score involvements, contested, uncontested, and intercepts too much in favour of Geelong. There's too few to do all the work for Port. Geelong for me.
Geelong, I just don't know how. Jam, I'm going with all your words because you've hit the nail on the head. If Port win tonight, it's going to be so impressive.
Shock horror, Oisin Mullen, straight to Zach Butters, and we're ready to go for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Here's Tom Wilson to start the call.
And Tom Atkins to Jason Horne-Francis, so he can expect the same type of treatment. In the middle of the ground, it's Sweet versus Edwards. Edwards knocks it down. Mullen in front of the Butters tries to gather. There's going to be a hold against Butters. Just asked him why you're paying that. Handballs it off to Max Holmes. Holmes goes inside the forward 50, looking for a target. Hits the bottom of the ground. Close there, the late in. Grabs the footy and is tackled by Aaliyah. Aaliyah will have a ball up 35 from the Cats' goal.
On that free kick, Butters going to have to work out how he's going to play, and he's played on him before. Not a great start.
Early inside 50 for the Cats. Sweet wins it down, then collapses into the footy. Dangerfield's trying to extract it. It's ripped away by Horne-Francis. Gives it away, though. The exiting handball straight to Bruin. Back inside 50, and Dangerfield pops up in the hole to take the uncontested mark. 30 from home, straight in front.
Tanner Bruin, what a fantastic start to his season he's had. Challenging year for him last year, but him off the half-back for Geelong, we touched on it before, a little bit underrated, but he's been one of the premium products of that half-back line and really driving the ball forward.
Scott Pendlebury at age 38, winning the Anzac medal today. Patrick Dangerfield at 36, still out there for the Cats. Years after his time in South Australia, former Crow, now Cat, strikes first as he leans back off a couple of steps. And Geelong take just a minute to get going. 1 straight 6, Port Adelaide yet to score. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport with Rod Jamieson and Ebony Mariner.
Joe Richards just grabbed Tanner Bruin like he was riding him at Morphettville, didn't he then? He was surprised he didn't get a free, but just a quick kick. And it wasn't the pressure already you've seen in the early minute here. Port Adelaide just numbers around it, fumbly, and just wanted to get it out of their defensive half, and not far enough, straight back over their head.
But just the dangerous spot Tanner put it in there, like all alone. Paddy Dangerfield marks that.
Straight to Braden Ingram on the boundary.
Possibly some mind games from Josh Carr in his midweek presser. Suggested it would be Miles Bergman who would get the job on Jeremy Cameron. It's Lockie Jones, who has done it in the past at the moment, who's on the number 5.
And Willem Drew has gone to Bailey Smith.
Back in the middle of the ground, Edwards knocks it down again, straight to Atkins. It's going back inside. That's a barrel. And there's that man just called Jeremy Cameron. Read it best. It was an ugly kick at best, but it works. 35 metres out, directly in front.
Well, that's 2 crucial centre clearance. We always talk about how important that is. But in the 6-6-6, that's just dangerous for Port Adelaide. 2 centre clearances for Geelong in the first 90 seconds.
Yeah, 5 disposals to 1, Port Adelaide. And
Cameron squeezing the footy as he does, coming off a 10-goal haul last week, and kicks it straight over the goal umpire's hat. Back-to-back goals for the Cats. They've started hot. Almost 3 minutes gone there. 2 straight 12. Port have hardly touched it.
I don't know. It's ominous signs, isn't it, too? I mean, Hawthorn got on top of them in the first quarter last week. They kicked 7 and Port 1, and then Port Adelaide were able to bounce back and kick 6-1 and restrict the Hawks to 2 behind. So they're aware of their slow starts. That's thing
right.
too.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Must be an Adelaide thing. South Australia thing, shall I say?
Yeah,
Late risers. Unfortunately for them, Geelong are the best fourth quarter team in the league, so you don't want to really give them a head start should we get to that point. They're up by 12 early, the Cats.
The Western Bulldogs beat them in the clearances last week, albeit there was a 70.5-point win to the Cats over the Bullies.
It wasn't a thrashing either in terms of that clearance count, but Geelong dominated the inside 50s. Edwards down straight to Bailey Smith, another touch. Tackled as he kicked, it heads its way to the eastern side. Early fly from Martin, who crunches the pack. Hits the deck, picked up by Bergman. Just thumps it forward, a hit and hope. Colliding in is Durden, it ricochets out to Whitlock, checks the kick, and running out from the goal square is Georgiades. Gee, it was messy, but they just kept moving it forward. Set shot to come for the Power, 35 out.
Just really composed, Jack Whitlock too. Open forward line, clean in the end, on his right, really short, out in front to Georgiades. Really smart kick.
Game 99 for the Subiaco product tonight. Mitch Georgiades, who's got a run of 28 consecutive games with a major. They need this to wrestle back some momentum. Mitch Georgiades starts at the attacking edge of the square, crosses the paint of 50. It's low and hard and right. Minor score, and it's the Cats by 11, 4 minutes into the opening term on ABC Sport.
It was so bad last year, Port Adelaide, with the amount of behinds they kicked, and already this year they're doing the same. You know, they're losing games because they're actually missing easy goals, not the start they were after.
Stewart brings it in from fullback, finds Humphreys at left half back. Runs around on the mark onto his left boot, up towards the wing. Flying over the top was Alir, brought it to ground. At the bottom of the pack was Atkins, gets the handball away to Manor. Bailey Smith's got a lot of company there with Drew. Good tackle. Big Ruckman picks it up and he's dumped on the ground. Good pressure. Port Adelaide will have a ball up just forward of centre wing, members' side of the ground, Geelong's way, who are leading by 11 points. Byzantini already into the ruck. Knocks it down to Drew. Gets the clearance, breaks through the tackle. Forward handball, put his teammate under a lot of pressure, but it works. Drew goes again for Georgiades through his hands. Out the back is Durden, a 2-on-1. There's another player, Whitlock, for Port Adelaide. If he can gather, Humphreys took on the tackles, got the handballs away in time to Stewart, to Holmes, who does well, kicks it from one pocket to the other, and there'll be a mark there in the right back pocket to O'Sullivan.
Wants to move it quickly, has the runner and gives it back to Holmes. Loops it over the top. Jack Henry's kick smothered. Cutting across. Good desperate dive from Farrell, who's spun over the boundary line. It'll be tossed in front of the prosciutto stand.
Just Tom Stewart's made it an art just to find a way to get himself free, hasn't he, too, to be able to get across and help out a teammate. And just a really good hip and shoulder to win the football back.
Loves putting up big numbers on the South Australian clubs, does Tom Stewart. Tossed in, it's the Cats by 11. Blitzarves waited for the drop on the bounce, gathers, tackled. Ball up to come just outside 50 for the Power. Geelong with the first two. Port Adelaide yet to kick a goal so far. Blitzarves stumps it down towards the boundary line. Picked up by Mullen, got the handball to Bailey Smith, who's in a paddock. Tucks it under one arm and goes for a run. One bounce, two bounces, drills it towards the 50. Cameron was there, Jones late. Sticks the fist in, it pops out. Bergman's there for the Power. Sends it to the broadcast wing to Burgoyne.
It's a great kick.
He plays on, and Stewart's been pinged for 50 here because he didn't stand on the mark.
It's the right call there because he certainly didn't stay on the mark.
And
silly.
so Burgoyne plays on quickly, kicks it up towards Georgiades, who takes another mark in a very similar spot to where he was before, 40 out and a 45-degree angle.
I thought Jace Burgoyne was really keen to play on, so if he plays on straight away, no? Well,
it's an
not.
awkward one because he was going to play on, but I think Ed would know you have to stand first.
It is tricky though, that's the rule which kind of creates that. There's a good number of 50s that would be paid.
Haven't seen Damien Hardwick's presser from today, but he would be a bit ropeable about one of the 50s paid against his boys.
Today, I was going to mention that, but couldn't paint the picture quick enough. In the meantime, Georgiades has a set shot on goal. It started left, but bends back. Port are on the board through their leading goal kicker, Mitch Georgiades. They're 1-1-7. Geelong, a 2 straight 12, almost 8 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Just that Bergman kick, wasn't it, too? Off the halfback line, win the football. Bailey Smith's kick just didn't land at Jeremy Cameron. They were able to spoil, recover, and just that big 40-metre kick out wide, stretched it to open space. And then the 52 advantage.
Georgiades had a paddock there. He was about 20 metres in front of Henry.
That Hardwick incident as well. So the Suns were closing the gap a bit on the Hawks, who had them for most of the afternoon, and then Tom Barras gets a 50 because the umpire told Jamara Ugle-Hagan to stand, and there were two players there, and Jamara thought, oh, maybe I should exit, and he was kind of waiting for the umpire to tell him, and the umpire didn't, and it was just a really harsh penalty.
Well, that's the hard one when two of them, isn't
and
it?
Hardwick blew up in the box. Tap down. Bailey Smith gets it out to Oisin Mullen, and running off half-back is Humphreys. The Wickham product up to right half forward. Well-placed kick. Ollie Henry takes it, losing his balance near the Wanganeen stand. He's too far out to score, but wants to move it quick. Opens the angle, sets it up top of the goal square. O'Neill's there and had Aaliyah wrapped up behind him. Panicked, stuck an arm around. Free kick, set shot to the Cats.
Well, before we talk about this, Eb, so what's the instruction as a player if two of you are standing the mark? Do you both just stand there until the umpire says one of you move? Or?
It's a good question because I don't know. So maybe I should ask before the season. So
well, you got
Ryan Davis isn't doing a Dimmer Hardwick in the box up ahead.
You've got a little bit of time before it starts, so that's okay.
Shannon Neal from 30 out, couple of steps. It's a gimme. And the Cats quickly respond. They're back up by 11, 3 straight 18 to 117. 9 played, opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts tonight, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson and the 7-time All-Australian Ebony Marinoff.
It's a hard one. It looked like Aaliyah Lidge actually got the fist in it, but naturally when you have the arms around, unfortunate, forwards always paid that one, but just the dart, and it's such a dangerous spot. Henry popped that. Like, that's really hard to defend in that hot spot, just above the square.
It's only early, but 24 disposals to 10. 6-1 tackles in favour of Port Adelaide, but 10-5 contested, uncontested 13-5. 4 inside 50s Geelong for 3 goals. Already ominous signs, and they were all the areas of concern before the ball was even bounced.
Visentini, clean tap towards Wines. He's got Bailey Smith as company. Both go to ground. It's just ricocheting on the bottom of the pack, and Warple's in there. Handballs to space. Berry gathers. Was tackled quickly there by Dempsey. And the ball spills to another tackling contest. We'll have a ball up. At the bottom of the pack there was Mullen.
Only 7 players, Tom, have touched the footy for Port Adelaide.
That's an amazing stat. That would have been Butters' first touch, but it was smothered. Then he's ridden into the turf by Mullen. Play on, says the umpire. And we'll have another ball up near the centre circle.
It's a brutal history for Butters. He averages a career low 18 against the Cats, and a large part of that is the 10 touches last year, round 21, and the 8 in the qualifying final where Mullen was all over him. Out of the stoppage, drew off a step, gets the clearing kick. There was a holding free kick, and they'll bring it back to Zach Butters. It is against Oisin Mullen in game 50.
Like I touched on before, you'd really hope that Butters was able to study what's good against Mullen and what's not.
He's one of the best blanketers in the league. The Irishman, Oisin Mullen. Butters heads wide on the 45. Josh Lai has it. Just forward of centre wing. Steps inboard. Set it up 30 from home. On the march is Georgiades. He bowls over his opponent. The pack collapses as a result. Humphreys was waiting front and square. His handball's a little awry and rolls over the boundary line, 40 out. Left forward pocket for the power. Gee, that was a dangerous one as Georgiades kind of crunched O'Sullivan into the deck.
Collingwood playing today, there was a guy called Mickey Gafer, known as the Human Glove. Did not even care where the football was, but made it incredibly hard for you to get a hold of it.
Boundary throw in. Blitzarves just takes it out of the ruck off the bounce and kicks up towards the logo. It was in Neil's favour. Couldn't complete the mark. Gathered by Lai, who gets to Ware. Going back up towards left half forward for Port Adelaide. In the best spot was O'Sullivan. And he's going to get the free for front on contact against Whitlock. So the umpire's just making sure that he comes back over the mark. We've just got a player injured in the foreground. It's Blitzarves.
Yeah, I think he's left knee or behind his left knee he's worried about.
It's called to the umpire, so time in the play will stop.
He's looking very sore. Did you see that one, Jamo?
Yeah, he's actually kicked it with his left foot and a player's run across to smother, and it's almost like he's hyperextended his knee the other way.
It's a Nathan Brown incident, isn't it? But obviously not as dramatic. He hasn't broken the leg, but it's a smother that's cut across a kick.
Okay.
Josh Franco had one in the Sandful last week, where a tib-fib fracture. Player who went to kick the ball and got smashed. What are you seeing down there, Braden?
Well, it's surprising he's walking off, really, given the fact that, as you said, that replay looked pretty nasty, and straight away the trainers did signal to the bench. So he's just coming across the logo now, so another 20 metres to go, but he is in a fair bit of discomfort. He's even trying to break into a jog here, which is hard to believe.
It's like a rubber man, the way that leg just bent the other way, wasn't it?
So he will be replaced on the field once he can get out over the boundary line. Looks like they'll send the young ruckman Edwards back out on the ground, and that's happened now. So umpire blows the whistle. Sullivan, who won the free kick at right half back.
It's a shame, fresh off game 300, Mark Blitzarves, and now headed straight down the race. So Sullivan heads down the eastern side. It's a long bomb, searching kick out the back door. Picked up by Vicentini, shoots the handball back, and Farrell caresses it into the defensive 50 to Bergman, finding a lot of the footy after his slow start to the year. Feels like he might have got those injury troubles behind him. Short pass, straight up the spine to Bergwijn, who immediately turns to the eastern side. And on the outer wing is Aaliyah. Tried to dummy his way through Neil, dropped the footy, but it worked. Regathers, sends it to the 50, and Wines cuts off Georgiades, who was on the march. Hits the deck, Holmes is there, gets it to Warple. Tight traffic at the moment for the Cats. Broome with a sidestep, can't find his teammate. Warple now tackled by Berry, and Butters lays one as well. We'll get a ball up, bang on the paint of 50. It's the Cats by 11, 14 played opening term.
Well called, Aaron. Wines spoiled his teammate there. I think Georgiades had a free shot at that. So from the ball up, it's socket off the deck by Smith. That's going to go straight out of bounds. Kane Farrell will have it just forward of centre wing, out of sight of the ground. Cats are leading by 11 points. Started hot, 3 straight kicks. Dangerfield, Cameron and Neil. Georgiades the goal scorer for the Power. So to Wines, to Farrell. He can unload from 60. Goes deep into the pocket. Flying at that was Georgiades. Whitlock got his hands to it. And they'll rush it over in the end through Bruin. Minor score to Port Adelaide. They're 1-2-8. Geelong, 3 straight 18. 15 minutes gone in his first term.
Pre-game's underway over at West as well, so if you want to hear the build-up to Fremantle and Carlton, with Bounce Down still a good hour away, you can hear that on ABC AFL Extra on the ABC Listen app. News there is that Ollie Hollins has left the side to be with his family, so Matt Cottrell comes into the team. Tanner Bruin off left half back, through the broadcast wing, kicks towards a flurry of players, hits the deck, tackle laid on Bowes, he got the handball off the deck. Umpire's whistle stays away, picked up by Atkins, curls it towards the 50. Aaliyah gets front position on Jeremy Cameron and takes the slips catch low to ground. Are they going to pay it though? As he falls into the footy and is tackled? No.
One hand, one bounce.
Ball up to come. Dangerous territory now.
Dropped it.
Geelong's 50. Neil with a little underarm tap and then does his own crumbing. Handball's a hospital one, but Close does well to get it to Bowes. Hooks it around the body from 40, not enough curl. And out on the full, free kick Port Adelaide, who lead by 10. Text line tonight as well, 0437 774 774, if you do want to get in touch on ABC Sport.
So Ware brings it back into play. Kicks it to Burn-Jones, left half back. Gets it in the hands of Bergman at fullback. He has been busy. This will be possession number 4. So the Cats have owned the footy 40-25 so far. This is a risky kick straight down the pipe. Looking for Wines. Big spoil over the back. Jones tries to gather. He just chests it to Drew. It worked. He goes back to Aaliyah. Kicks over the top for McKinlay. They've got some run, Port. Handballs to Whitlock. That missed the target, but it might work if Wines can gather. Hospital handbars to Drew. Good work here, the Cats, because the Power are out. They just weren't clean enough, Port. So we'll have a ball up at centre half forward.
No, it wasn't pretty, Tom, but, Port Adelaide were able to gain 50 to 70 metres.
Voice of Ebony Marinoff there. Whistle in the stoppage for a hold. Mitch Edwards is going to get it against Jordan Sweet. Young man in just his 6th game. A very poor kick. That's a true ruckman's kick. Heading out wide, it was a low wobbler that bounces well to Sullivan in the end, who heads down the line looking for Neil, who was well held and couldn't get to the drop. Lockie O'Neill cuts it off. Lockie Jones. There's too many O's out there tonight, Jamo. Sullivan, O'Connor. Lockie Jones. Back where it came from, 3-on-3 there. Sullivan lost it in the drop. Atkins can't gather either. McKinlay knocks it out towards Horn Francis and winds smooth as he guides his way through the phone box. Kicks into the 50. Georgiades is there. Only got a hand in. The other was entangled. Hits the deck. Head over at McKinlay. Shrugs a couple. Tries to snap. Hits his teammate. Comes out though. Another handball. Back. And Georgiades' tumbler is wide left. Minor score. Margin's only 9, even though the Cats have had a lot of the momentum. 3 straight 18. Port Adelaide 1-3-9. Closing in on time on the first turn.
So Humphreys brings it back. Industrious style of footy for Port Adelaide. Goes to Henry. Back to Humphreys. Right back pocket. Switch is on now.
Brave kick.
Is a brave one. It's going to pay off. Good mark from O'Sullivan. Another brave kick in board, and it's been paid a free against to Martin against Drew. Feels like he ripped him down. Another brave kick towards Farrell, and the other way this time. Front on contact against Close. And Farrell's just clutching his boot, but I think it just slipped off. So it's a worrying sign for a moment there. But Port will have the footy defensive side of centre wing. Members' side of the ground. They trail by 9 points.
Unique free. Close is running back with the footy. Tries to mark it. Farrell's coming the other way, and Farrell gets the free.
I was going to say, Jamo.
Wide 45. Nearly didn't get its way to Butters, but off hands reaches him. Tackle late on Durden. Spun in the washing machine and gave it away. Bowes gets it wide. Guthrie through the chain. Finds its way out to left half forward to Close, who kicks towards the 50, and surging out is Jeremy Cameron. Tight angle on the left, 45 from home.
In terms of, if you have eyes for the footy, I just don't understand that being a free kick. But just in that contest there, in terms of the communication of Ollie Wines and Mitch Georgiades on the other end, Neil completely pulled out of that and let Cameron fly at that ball. So it's just...
Connection.
Yeah.
Jeremy Cameron starts on the boundary line and will kick bang on 50, and it is a magnificent strike. He is so good, Jezza, and he's got 2 in the opening term. Cats are up 4 straight 24, Port Adelaide 1-3-9. Time on in the first quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport with Ebony Marinoff and Rod Jamieson.
What I loved, Deb, about that contest down in front of us too, Port have come wide, Geelong have intercepted, but then they've got the numbers around the footy. It's easy to say how to execute it, but then you've actually got to do that. And in tight traffic, 4 or 5 handballs, and then Brad Close laces out Jeremy Cameron.
Well, it's the forward handballs, so it's just hard to defend when you've got runners and you're able to execute, 3-4 handballs over the top. I thought it started with Manor, just a really smart, 4-5 metre handball out in front. But when they say you're in form and you're on, and certainly Jez is coming off a 10 goal, so stay tuned. He's already got the 2 tonight.
Clearance concern already. Geelong 10, Port Adelaide 2.
Butters dives in there, had Edwards for company. Watkins is now onto the ground. Good tackle from Horn Francis on Manor. Drop the footy. No whistle. That is a stinker. The holding the ball decision-making is at an all-time low, and no reward. You've got to reward the tackler. So Horn Francis gets in on that one. He's brought to ground. I know it was a big topic on ABC Saturday today, and I know Ray Chamberlain does a great job defending the decisions, but the interpretations are just god-awful at the moment. From the clearance, the Cats have got it. Going inside the forward 50 is O'Connor. Good contest made there by Lai, brought it to the front. Butters goes in hard, just overran it. Port have the numbers at the bottom of the pack. Burn-Jones to McKinlay to Lai. Here's Watkins in his 3rd game in 6 days. Gets it to Berry, right up against the boundary line. Whitlock takes the mark centre wing.
They've got the overlap as well. Horn Francis now pushed off his kick by Bailey Smith, but it's an excellent screw. Central to centre half forward to Corey Dern, and now he needs an option. He'll get it. Darting left and then breaking right is Mitch Georgiades. Takes it low to ground, 35 from home. Gee, it was line ball, that call on the boundary line, but it has worked in Port's favour.
Well, Jason Horne-Francis' kick, I thought Bailey Smith was all over him, and he sort of stopped and allowed Jason Horne-Francis to compose, and then that kick into the middle of the ground had to be spot on, and it was.
So if you're just joining us, a couple of late changes. Jack Watkins in for Todd Marshall. Brad Close replaced Sam de Koning for the Cats, and Mark Blitzarf still down in the rooms with a upper leg injury. Mitch Georgiades to eat into the deficit. Looking for his second, starts at left, never a chance. It was an awkward drop didn't quite make the contact, and a minor score. Geelong by 14 at the moment. Shout out to Laurel in Rushworth, who's got in touch. Says, looking forward to the call, and as usual, go Cats. Best of luck to you, Laurel.
So they've worked it up towards centre wing. The kick was short. Lai dropped the sitter on his chest. Gathering was Watkins to Burgoyne, now to Burn-Jones. Kick goes inside the forward 50. That's a hard one for Durden. He's one of the smaller players on the field, and Jack Henry eats it alive, gets it across to Broon. Now they're at right half back through Dempsey. Bright pink boots. And switch it back to Tom Stewart at fullback.
David Packingham's with us as well. 0437 774 774. Enjoying the call. And on the left back pocket is Jack Henry on return. Short pass to Tanner Bruin, who's found a lot of the footy early. Disposal number 6 incoming.
Well, the Cats are just defending it well, maintaining possession, making Port work, going side to side. And the concern already, Mitch Georgiades, 1 goal, 3. Port Adelaide and Jeremy Cameron has the 2 for 3 goal scorers for Geelong.
So 15-12 for the year. Mitch Georgiades in front of goal. Just needs to be a little bit more accurate. Bailey Smith down the line. Throw a blanket over them as a good 5-on-5 as it hits the deck. Mitch Edwards looks a little proppy as well as he comes off the turf. Picked up by Burgoyne. Dump kick forward will work. Committing to it was Broom, but couldn't trap the footy. Gathered by Berry. Kicks a little hot, but Durden will break away out the back door. Gather and check side through from 5. Corey Durden slams it into the Riverbank stand, and the margin is just 8. Port Adelaide moved to 2-4-16. Geelong 4 straight 24. Braden Ingram's downstairs on ABC Sport.
So a few issues in the Geelong ruck department. Still no sign of Mark Blitzarves in the rooms after that leg issue. Edwards is now putting his shoe back on his left foot. He does look a little bit proppy. The physio actually had to stop attending to Jeremy Cameron, who was getting a rub to his adductor, who looked a little bit sore as well. Good news is that Cameron looks ready to return to the ground, and Edwards, if he can get his shoe back on, he's really struggling. He's trying to make his way back into the middle.
We have bad moments, but Tanner Broom will not want to look at that. He was sitting under the footy. He chose to go at it one hand and took his eyes off the footy, and it got over the back and the ultimate penalty.
It almost looked like he pulled himself out of the contest, and Georgiades just kept coming. But also, in terms of reading the play, Durden on Stewart, just his ability to read the flight and stay with it.
Zentini straight down to Horn Francis. That was clean. Looking for Richards. Just had a bit of extra on that, and Tommy Stewart's keen to get that out over the boundary line, and he does. So it's forward of centre wing for Port Adelaide. Durden got the last goal, brought it back to an 8-point margin. They've actually had 6 scoring shots to 4. So they've worked their way back into this contest, the home side.
Inside 50s, 11-7 now, Port Adelaide's favour, so they're getting it in there.
Byzantini uncontested in that rock contest, so just belts it forward. Holmes was quick and he's kicked it. He's able to keep it in, not out on the full, but then there was no one there and it dribbles out. So Port Adelaide will win the free kick under the new rule. Jace Burgon will bring it back right in front of the bench.
You don't mind it actually too. You're under pressure. Just get it down 30-40 metres and then it just reset, start again.
I think it was the right idea, Jamo. Just poor execution, and he put his hand up. Holmes did.
Burgoyne to Richards and now Butters. A little bit of kick mark at the moment. Josh Carr's loving that methodical ball movement. Butters just loving a chance to touch the pill, given he's got a hard tag. Down the line he goes, and Vicentini cuts in, takes the mark. Amidst a flurry of bodies, he'll place it into the 50. Georgiades was on the rise and cutting back. Getting in front of him is Jordan Sweet. Pushed as he hit the deck, no 50.
He's lucky.
He's lucky he took the grab as well. I think Big Mitch would have been frustrated if Jordan Sweet hadn't plucked that. But back with the flight, reels it in on the chest.
That's 50.
That's absolutely 50,
You
Tom.
gotta pay that.
So a set shot for the big ruckman on a tight angle, 25 out. This could be anything. Jordan Sweet with the check side is a very sweet finish. A fruitful kick from 25 out for the big man. And the margin's just 2. Geelong 4 straight 24. Port 3-4-22. Jordan Sweet pulls one out of the bag. Braden Ingram's downstairs with another injury update.
Yeah, so Edwards has now come off the ground. He's got that left shoe off again. They're restrapping his heel. He does look in a bit of discomfort, so Shannon Neal's going to be called into the ruck now, and I guess this is where the absence of Sam De Koning as that laid out could be an issue.
But it's a brilliant mark from Sweet. He's probably thinking Georgiades to kick the 1 goal 3. Hang on a minute, I'll take this. And Tom, I know we touched on it, but it certainly was a 50-metre. But I reckon the footy gods were saying, yep, Sweet, this is good, a goal in. But That's exactly what you want from a big man, just being able to come across. It's challenging. I feel like you just got to go when you think you got to go, and what a goal.
Visentini in the ruck, overruns it. Wines grabs the footy, gets the handball out to Horne-Francis, who's tackled as he gathered it, wanted the free kick. Instead, Neil goes forward into the 50. Leading in the race in front of Cameron was Jones, sweeping handball to Farrell. That was clean to Evans. Lowers his eyes, finds Horne-Francis in the middle of the ground. He's tackled by Smith. Another missed 50 according to Port fans. They pump it in long. They've got the numbers over the back here. And Georgiades marks 25 metres out directly in front, and they've got a chance to hit the front.
Jordan Sweet wasn't involved necessarily in that passage of play, but geez, he stepped up since, Ivan Soldo, long-term injury. Sweet, he's a mountain of a man, and just the way he struck that footy in the pocket, but Port Adelaide now are using the football by foot, superior through the middle of the ground and taking the Cats on at their own game.
It's his 5th scoring shot of the quarter. He's had 1 goal, 3 so far. This is directly in front. He makes no mistake. He's got his 2nd, and Port hit the front. 4-4-28. Geelong 4 straight 24. 29 minutes gone in the first term for ABC Sport.
Well, that handball from Jason Horne-Francis to Evans then, just to be able to come through the corridor, keep speed on the ball, was super impressive. But what we touched on in the first 90 seconds of the game, you'd say that Geelong had all momentum and the clearance dominance throughout this quarter, but Port are now 4 points in front and have 4 more scoring shots.
Tom Atkins has got the 2. Jason Horne-Francis has been involved. He's had 5. Tom Atkins had 4 tackles. He's just a brute around the footy, but Port Adelaide starting to win the football. Clearances 12-4, still in favour of Geelong.
Rod Jamieson, Ebony Marinoff, your experts tonight. We've got a game on ABC Sport after a couple of blowouts earlier. Tossed into the air, Visentini wins it down looking for Butters. He's got Mullen to deal with and leaves the footy. Atkins will take it, plucks it, hands it to Bailey Smith. Bullet pass looking for Cameron. Hand came in, 45 out. Martin can't get there. Well gathered by McKinlay for the power. Uses Lythe and Farrell. Wines trying to dance away from Holmes. Was caught but got it away. Back to McKinlay, zigging and zagging in step. The handball's a little hot. Committing to it is Burgoyne, and Atkins, the tackling machine, comes the other way and wraps him up. Noted during the week he had the AFL record last season for most tackles in a game, but he averaged 7 during that campaign. Noffy, you average 11.
He's up to 5 already.
Telling me stats I don't know here, Aaron.
He's got to watch some of your tape, I think.
And a ball up on the logo, outer side of the ground. Visentini with another knockdown, but Martin read it best for the Cats. Kicks up towards centre half forward. Cameron flies over the top. He knocks it over to himself, but Wines tackled him to the ground. His opponent, Jones, is working hard. He lays a strong tackle on Martin. The pressure is lifted. We've got a game on our hands here, and it's great to see at Adelaide Oval.
Well, they had to step up, and they are too. Just having a look at the tackles for the year, Tom Atkins just 45, and he's already had 5 again tonight.
McKinlay with the clearance for Port Adelaide, kicks it inside the forward 50, cleverly knocked out the back by Sweet, and he runs onto it, and he's fumbled Georgiades. He had an open goal square when he fumbled. His foot just came through in his running motion and kicked it through for a minor score. He could have had 6.
2 goal 4.
4-5-29, Geelong are 4 straight 24.
You wonder if Chris Scott's thinking maybe I shouldn't have rested Sam De Koning as the late out. Tom Stewart with a short pass wide. Max Holmes has it in the right back pocket.
You're saying rested. They're calling it managed.
Take your pick. It's a thesaurus, isn't it? This is a shocking kick across the goal face. It was in the air for an eternity. What was Max Holmes thinking? Trying to get it across to Jack Henry, and it's sharked by Jordan Sweet. What a night he's having. Mentioned it in the observance, but one of 2 players alongside Corey Durden to be the first in AFL history to wear a medal or a ribbon as part of their ancestors. His great-great-grandfather, Leonard Loveday, gave him the ribbon bar. He was a member of the British Armed Forces. He was an artillery soldier as well. So a big night for Jordan Sweet. The ruckman from 25 sprays this one right. Probably needs his set shots from difficult angles to try and convert them. It is Port by 6. They've had some chances. 4-6-30. Geelong 4 straight 24. 32 played first term. And the Power have had the last 7 scoring shots.
Flying over the top there was Neil with a great grab as the siren beats them. Well, I think the Cats have been happy with that siren because Port Adelaide had all the momentum to finish that first term. Cats kicked the first 2, but after that it was 4-2 the way of the Power. They kicked the last 3. They're 4-6-30, leading by 6 points over the Cats, who are 4 straight 24.
Goal scorers at the first change. 2 to Georgiades, singles to Sweet and Durden for the Cats. 2 to Jeremy Cameron after his bag of 10 last week. Singles to Neil and Dangerfield. Just before the break, we'll get an injury update as well, because Mark Blitzarms and Mitch Edwards under injury clouds. Braden, what's happened down there?
Aaron, so Blitzarms has literally just emerged from the race, and you'll see he's on the edge of the centre square doing a fitness test effectively. So he's running up and down, trying to prove to the doctors that he is available. Mitch Edwards has limped out to the huddle as well. I think Edwards will return, but it remains to be seen about Blitzarms if he can convince the doctor. So
suddenly Chris Scott has his work cut out for him if he's going to try and get his 250th victory as a coach. Earlier today, Hawthorn winners over Gold Coast by 49 points. Collingwood defeated Essendon by 77 in the Anzac Day clash at the G. Scott Pendlebury winning the Anzac medal for a career-high 43 touches and 2 goals at the age of 38. And our pre-game of Fremantle and Carlton is underway. We're still a good, I want to say, 70 minutes away from the game starting, but you can hear the build-up with Clint Wilden, Mitch Turner, Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonio on ABC Listen through ABC AFL Extra. Otherwise, our eyes are fixated on what is a close game at the moment. Port by 6 at the first change. It is great to have you with us on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio and ABC Listen for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Are you sick of brands pretending to be your friends? Gruen would never do that. We don't care that we're coming back to Wednesday nights on the ABC. We care about you watching us.
The new season of Gruen
starts Wednesday,
April 29 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
Gives it away though, the exiting handball straight to Gruen, back inside 50, and Dangerfield pops up in the hole to take the uncontested mark, 30 from home, straight in front. Years after his time in South Australia, former Crow, now Cat, strikes first as he leads back off a couple of steps.
Back in the middle of the ground, Edwards knocks it down again straight to Atkins. It's going back inside, that's a barrel, and cheers that man, just called Jeremy Cameron. Read at best, it was an ugly kick at best, but it works. 35 metres out, directly in front. Cameron squeezing the footy as he does, coming off a 10-goal haul last week, and kicks it straight over the goal umpire's hat. Back-to-back goals for the Cats. They've started hot.
Picked up by Burgoyne. Dump kick forward will work. Committing to it was Broome, but couldn't trap the footy. Gathered by Berry. Kicks a little hot, but Durden will break away out the back door. Gather and check side through from 5. So a set shot for the big ruckman on a tight angle, 25 out. This could be anything. Jordan, sweet with the check side, is a very sweet finish. A fruitful kick from 25 out, the big man. And the margin's just 2.
Horn fronts in the middle of the ground. He's tackled by Smith. Another miss 50 according to Port fans. They pump it in long. They've got the numbers over the back here. And Georgiades marks 25 metres out directly in front. He's had 1 goal, 3 so far. This is directly in front. He makes no mistake. He's got his second. And Port hit the front.
Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and on ABC Listen.
4 big games coming your way on ABC Sport today, and I don't think many expected Port Adelaide and Geelong to be one of the better fixtures. That being said, first change, plenty of footy to come. But Port up by 6 after a tight affair in the first term, 4-6-30. They lead Geelong 4 straight 24. A couple of injury concerns as well. We'll get an update very shortly on Mark Blitzarves and Mitch Edwards. News of the day, so Will Houghton, who was the chairman of the AFL Appeals Board that determined the controversial verdict for Lance Collard reducing his penalty from 9 to 2, saying that it is commonplace in the AFL for racist, sexist and homophobic comments, has been fired by the AFL. He's been let go after 2 years in his job. So the AFL not very happy with that decision and as a result have let him go. The other news ahead of Fremantle and Carlton tonight is that Ollie Hollands has returned home. So travelled with the team out west as a result of what's happening with his brother Elijah. He's decided to return and support his family. So Matt Cottrell will come in for the Blues later tonight, and you can hear the pre-game for it on ABC Listen right now through the extra button. Hawthorn winners over the Suns by 49 and Collingwood defeating Essendon by 77. Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff, your experts tonight, alongside myself, Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson. Jamo Noffy, Taylor 2 halves in a quarter there. What did you make of it?
Well, the Cats were good early, weren't they? So got the score on the board, albeit Port Adelaide were able to get back in. My grave concern is Mitch Georgiades is the leading player for Port Adelaide metres gained, and he's full forward. that is a real concern on top of a lot of other areas as well. Like inside 50s, they managed to get their way back into it, 14-9. Clearances getting smashed, 14-5 in favour of Geelong. First possession, 15-7 in favour of Geelong. And the tackling, 17-13, they're winning. So defensively doing it. But when Geelong are up and about, they haven't got the game at the moment in that first quarter to be able to hold on to Geelong and negate them. And the reliance upon too few at the moment to be able to do that. Zach Butters has only had the 3 disposals. So Port Adelaide's still got a truckload of work to do.
Absolutely. In terms of the momentum shifts, like you just touched on, Aaron, it certainly was a tale of two halves of the quarter. But I thought when Port Adelaide were able to get a bit more handball receives and flow on the game, I mean, Georgiadis was prominent up forward, but I felt like that's when they were as clean as they looked. But you can never count Geelong out. Looks like Stewart is back on the ground, so he'll go back in the ruck and Neil will be able to be more of a prominent target down forward line. But I thought Port Adelaide, you'd have to be happy with that.
Let's check in with Braden. What's the latest down there in terms of the injuries?
So Mitch Edwards is back on the ground and will take part in this opening centre bounce, or centre ball up, I should say. Mark Blitzarves, judging by the doctor's body language, I thought he had been ruled out, but he's still on the front of the bench. So I'll keep you updated with that one.
I want to be cautious with the 35-year-old fresh off game 300. So Port by 6. Second term underway on ABC Sport. Jordan Sweet wins it down and follows up as well. Gathers the footy, low snap, bouncing its way towards the arc and racing out to meet it is O'Sullivan. Caught for his troubles though. Berry spins him around and hits the deck, holding the ball. Joe Berry pops up, short pass. Joe Richards has a runner, releases Farrell with the lethal left. It's a Farrell barrel from 55. Excellent finish, and Port in the space of 30 seconds immediately hit the scoreboard. Lead is 12 points straight after quarter time. 5-6-36 plays 4 straight 24. What a start, Rod Jamieson.
Well, 30 seconds, and what a tremendous tackle defensively, up forward, in their forward half. That's what you're after, to be able to hold it in. But Kane Farrell has just got one of the sweetest lefts, hasn't he? He doesn't even, it looks effortless.
Again, though, coming from a handball receive, like allowing the good kickers to have a peg at goal.
Yeah, you got Jeremy Cameron at one end who kicks it beautifully and Kane Farrell at the other. And Port have had the last 7 scoring shots and the last 4 goals of the game, leading by momentum. 12 points.
Well, Kane Farrell's actually up with Jeremy Cameron, up that into the ground, isn't
That's
he?
True, that's true. I realised that to myself. I thought I got away with it, but...
I wasn't correcting you at all. It was just the way he's rebounded and run.
Nothing,
squeeze it off the halfback.
Nothing gets past you, Jamo. And so there was a kicking in danger free kick against Wines, and Bruins got it running through the middle of the ground from handball receive up towards centre half forward, but Alir read it way better than Neil. Takes the intercept mark. Switches on, he finds Burgoyne, defensive side of the logo. More cats in front of him, so got a hard runner in Richards who did well. Marks at centre wing. On board to Wines. And
we thought about going there.
He did, and he took a bit long, and his kick was partially smothered. Holmes took on a couple of tackles. Smith, met by Butters, falls to Burgoyne. He's been pinged for a tough tackle. Goodness me. I'm going to stop talking.
Got a blow up in the box already, and it's just the second term. Bailey Smith with disposal 8. Heads forward to centre half forward. Shannon Neal's there, turns on a dime, kicks too long. Darcy Byrne-Jones for Port Adelaide gives it to Kane Farrell. Pulls the kick out to left half back to Richards. And again, it's pinpoint passing from the power. Burgoyne loops the handball over the top to Farrell. Turns, quickly tackled, but did get a kick away. Rolls towards the boundary line and escorted over by Corey Durden. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Zach Butters might have been cleared on a technicality of that umpire abuse charge. He did not say a word just then to the umpire, despite visible frustration.
No Nick Foot tonight, so he's in the clear.
I'm with you, Tom. I think, what about all 5 of us just stop talking for about 30 seconds?
I got the quotes from Damien Hardwick as well. I'll read them to you in a moment. Tossed in. Jack Bowes gets the handball through traffic. Tough one to Bailey Smith. Leans back. Guides it up towards Jeremy Cameron, far from home. Just behind right half forward for the Cats, who trail by 12. They were up by as much as 16 in the first term. Jezza pumps it up towards the goal square. Backtracking. Jack Martin gets in front uncontested. Takes an easy grab.
Free kicks 7-2 in favour of Geelong, by the way. Eb.
It'd be frustrating for Butters because he actually caressed him into the ground, and I think Smith just...
Martin plays on quickly and kicks the goal. Just hooked it around the body from 20 into the Riverbank stand, right-hand side of your radio dial. And Jack Martin now has 5 consecutive games where he's kicked a major. Gets one back for the Cats. They're down by 6. 5-6-36, plays 5 straight 30. 4 minutes into the first term. So Damien Hardwick, after the 50-metre penalty against Jamara Ugle-Hagan, said, from what I gather, the umpire called stands, so Jamara and Jared are standing, and then Jared decides to leave because he says move out, and then all of a sudden it's 50. Common sense has to prevail at some stage. The game's hard enough for the umpires to do at present with the holding the ball stuff, and the manning of the mark stuff. Can we please just simplify it? So he's a little bit frustrated. The Suns going down by 49 earlier.
So in terms of Jared leaves, Jamara stays. So one's standing.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay.
It's just the messaging. The umpires have to be more communicative, and Ray Chamberlain's the best at that, and he's not there anymore.
Oh. Big hit out from Edwards. Thumped it forward, but waiting at the back with the power. They worked it by hand to Horn Francis. He does a dribble kick down to Drew, who was tackled by Broon.
That's same. So you can understand why Port Adelaide fans are frustrated there, because that's exactly what happened. Just a pushing it back from Tanner Broon.
So clean hit out, and brushing off Dempsey was Horn Francis. Goes the 1-2 with Butters. That's hopefully the future for Port Adelaide fans. Kicks up long down the line, and Zach Guthrie read it best at left half back for the Cats. Takes the intercept mark. They trail by 6 points.
First year without his brother Cam, who Rod Jamieson famously gave 3 votes for in a game.
No, that is not correct.
Tell the story, go on.
Well, he had a reasonable game, but so did a number of others. And we had someone text on 0437 774 774 and said, "Are you been drinking?" How did Cam Guthrie not get 3 votes?
Good plug. Short pass back to Stewart, then Bailey Smith, and now Max Holmes. You're always a divisive figure when it comes to your votes, Jamo, but we love you.
Well, I think Noffy took a leap there. You've got to trust the expert. You get him in, and Noffy called it last week, and Tex got 10 votes.
Switches on, so Bruin went to Holmes, hens it long to the broadcast wing, hits the deck, Bowes gathers, took on the tackle, and no free kick. And the crowd grows more and more frustrated. He's an experienced trio of the 4 tonight. Robert O'Gorman's currently tossing the footy into the air alongside Curtis Du Bois and Matthew Nichols. They do have Adrian Adair out there, who's more of a younger umpire. Out of the stoppage, Butters tracking the footy. Henry comes the other way, gets there first for the Cats. Gives it to Martin. Kicks up towards the 50 and ricochets off a couple of bodies and over the boundary line. Braden Ingram downstairs.
So Mark Blitzarves is on the bike, but his night is over. He won't be returning. He's hyperextended the lateral ligament in his left knee.
It's no good. So to round out that, so every time we play Geelong, Cam Guthrie always gets a special mention.
The hit out from Edwards, the lone ruck out there on the ground. Goes down to ground. Richards ran through the contest, gets a handball to Evans. This is a high ball down the line. Visentini made a contest, knocked it straight down to Moraes, handballs it off. Look at McKinlay run. He's got Bruin for company. Unloads from outside 50, but it just drifts away and actually goes out of bounds. Might be a good result for Portet.
You take that. What would you do if the umpire said a lasso? Well, not a lasso, sorry. In position to 10. Free kick Geelong.
They have paid them like that before.
They have. And it's been genuine miss-kick. You're not allowed to miss-kick in the game no more.
So it's deep inside Port's 50. They're up by 6.
Tossed in. Chasing to the shallow drop as Vicentini heads out the back. O'Connor gets it out to Atkins and he launches it out of there with a driving kick. Bounces wide of Edwards. Didn't really have the agility to get there. Aaliyah gathers. Hospital handball as Sweet got it to Jones. He did well but missed his target getting out to Ware. Lays the tackle on Dempsey and dumped him after the ball came free. Free kick the Cats' way.
Only Dempsey's second touch of the game. He's a crucial part of Geelong's link-up. Predominantly kicks a lot of goals as a winger. Only the 2 touches tonight.
Long ball out to left half forward and straight down the throat of Jordan Sweet, who wants to break away. Everyone stopped. No one expected him to go. The big man galloping through the eastern wing. Gets it to Vicentini, who releases Moraes and into the 50s. Mitch Georgiades again marks it in front. Racing out of the goal square. Set shot to come slightly to the right. 40 from home.
I'd rather go with Jordan Sweet's had some sort of sponsor's drink tonight. Like, he is playing out of his skin rather than being swabbed, but
he's feeling it, isn't he?
Is he what?
Got a few puns in the back pocket. We'll get them out across the night if he keeps this up. Mitch Georgiades is having a field day. Just needs to be a bit more accurate. 2-4 for the night. Starts at the right half forward edge of the square. Stutter step for Mitch Georgiades. Hard drive and wide to the right. 2-5. Port by 7 points here at the Adelaide Oval. Shout out to David Horsham on the text line who says, love your commentary. Rod Jamieson is the best of them all.
Oh, dangerous kick. And Port Adelaide have turned it over. Whitlock's got it, steps inside, snaps towards the top of the goal square. It's Richards in a 1-on-2, and it's fisted out over the boundary line from Guthrie, and we'll have a throw-in in front of the scoreboard.
David, mate, are yours, Jamo?
Well, we can fast become a friend.
Do worry for Port Adelaide here. They're dominating the play. 7 extra scoring shots. Mitch Georgiades 2-5. Could it come back to bite them? Boundary throw-in. Sweep takes it out of the ruck. Goes through a tackle, handballs it off to Georgiades. Can he finish on the snap? He does this time. Georgiades with a third. He's having quite the game so far. Porter's 6-7-43. Geelong a 5 straight 30. Almost 10 minutes gone second term.
If he goes at this rate, he's going to kick 8 goal 20.
That was in terms of Whitlock's kick, he snaps at goal, it goes out of bounds. Port Adelaide have time they get an opportunity to have a forward stoppage. That's just a win from Whitlock. He has a peg at goal. It's not just a 7-point play, it's a goal. I certainly feel like Port Adelaide have got on top, and we probably haven't spoken of it, but Big R's is a big out. Like, his ability to play everywhere, we spoke about it last week in his 300th, and obviously with Zakoning out, managed, like Aaron, what is this? Is it managed? Like, is it just a Scott? Like, what is it?
They said managed, so I'll take them on their word there.
You said rest.
I've Googled, it's managed.
Tactically rested for me.
Yeah, don't listen to Aaron.
Edwards down to Butters. Tackled as he kicked it, but got it to Richards, who fights through a couple to get it back to Butters. Beautiful ballerina turn through traffic to Moraes. Kicks a little hot for Vicentini. O'Connor's there to mop it up. Gets it to Dempsey, then Stewart. Leaning back, just skies it towards the eastern side. Late flyer as Ollie Henry couldn't control it. Gathers, though, on the bounce. Fends off the tackle of Durden, hands it straight to Farrell. Port now, bobbling it around. Drew to Burn-Jones. Has a bit of composure and heads wide to Jacob Ware. So Mitch Georgiades on the live Coleman tally, 9 behind Ben King, who had 2 today. Jack Gunston with 5, he's in second. Short pass, Ewan McKinlay just behind right half forward.
Well,
Jack Odie stand.
Port Adelaide are all over him. Uncontested, contested and clearances in this second quarter.
Just needs some reward on the scoreboard. Port by 13. McKinlay into the 50. 5-on-5 off hands. Georgiades becomes the tackler on Dempsey. So Sam DeConing, the laid out managed. Mark Blitzavs rather with the hyperextension of the knee. Sweet. Straight down the throat of McKinlay out of the stoppage. Tight angle near the scoreboard. Can't quite work the Isaac Rankin magic. It's out on the full. And the margin remains at 13. We've played 11 minutes, second term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
O'Sullivan right next to the right behind post. Kicks it out of defence. Hits Neil in the face. Gathered by Ware. It's tackled by Dempsey. Gets it off to Manor. Kicks forward. Farrell's waiting for it. Cameron went after it. Gathered the footy, handballs to space, waiting for it was Sweet. He's tackled to the ground there by Close. Probably one of the tallest players versus one of the smallest players out there. Davey versus Goliath. We'll have a ball up outer side of ground. Centre wing.
I don't know if it's the ideal, Tom, but certainly Port Adelaide, they've just slow to start last week, the blueprint, and then they've smashed Hawthorn in the second and doing the same to the Cats now.
Certainly working. Here goes Butters. He's going to work. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Flying it's Vicentini. Took down the ball to the front of the contest. Was roved by O'Connor. Gets it back to Humphreys for Geelong. Kicks towards the wing and Atkins marks it on the chest. Butters was pinged for holding him in that marking contest and doing his best to bite his lip. Left half back for the Cats. They trail by 13 points.
Atkins backtracks to Humphreys. It's funny you mentioned last week's game, Jamo. So second quarter when Port got the momentum, they were plus 33 uncontested. And in this term so far, plus 18 at the moment. We've still got a good 11 minutes to go. Back to Atkins, who sends it out to right half back. Kick was a little shallow for Bruin, but he gets there and releases Tom Stewart. Up to right half forward. One-on-one battle with Ollie Henry and Josh Lai cutting across Brad Close with a bit of momentum. Handball ricochets off some bodies and will be a boundary throw-in. Shaz on the text line says, "G'day and go the Power." Bit of love from the South Australian locals. 0437 774 774. Sweep down. Bounced off Warple for the Cats. To Neil, who's crunched. Hard tackle from Jack Watkins, who's showing no signs of the game he played last night for Norwood, where he had 25 touches and a goal. The late in this evening here at the Adelaide Oval. Sweet again down. Gets it to Drew. Sweeping handball forward. Got its way towards Durden, but he's quickly tackled by Tanner Bruin. Port by 13.
Where's Shaz from?
Doesn't say.
No?
But I'm going to assume South Australia. Go Power. I think there can't be many of those interstate.
Neil knocks it down in the ruck contest. Trying to soccer it was Butters. Oisin Mullen got a handball and then a quick kick forward. Jones hits the space, allows Lai to run onto it. We know he's quick, did well. Kicks up the ground and it was awful, but it found Drew. Plays on quickly, the switch is on for Port Adelaide. They're not waiting around in this contest. Handball to Richards, back to Evans. Over the top to where Richards has shifted across the entire one side to the other, and then they fumble, they make the mistake. Can Geelong make them pay? Close on the logo. Handballs over the top to Smith, who dropped the ball. That's rare. Tried to ride the tackle. Over towards Bowes. Sells some candy at centre half forward. Sweeping handball to Dempsey. Steps inside the forward kick. 50. Kicks across goal. Finds Cameron 40 out directly in front.
I think that's almost like classic Geelong defence, isn't it, too? They just get at you. All teams want to come from the front and put the pressure on. So you've got a handball, loop over, and at some point it's going to break down. But once they win the footy back, they're just so smart. And you call Bailey Smith dropped it. I think he did that intentionally, just put it forward, didn't he?
Yep.
Kevin Bartlett style.
Yep. And then if he got tackled, he would have won the free kick.
Yeah.
So Cameron has had limited opportunities, but he's made the most of them so far, and he does it again. He's got 3 on the night, and the Cats are kicking perfectly straight. They're 6 straight, 36. Port Adelaide is 6-7, 43. Halfway through this second term, Braden Ingram on the boundary.
Jeremy Cameron, he does like the power. That takes his tally to 20 goals in the past 4 games, and there's still 2 and a bit quarters to go in this one.
Well, like we touched on earlier, he certainly is in form even there, just going, this is my ball, I'll take this, I'm the forward. But I thought it was a really good win from Geelong on the far wing, just their ability to pressure Port Adelaide. They kept having a few forward handballs, and then their ability to, I guess, turn over the ball and bring it inside 50. We probably haven't seen that since the first 10 minutes of the first quarter, Tom.
Patrick Dangerfield still on the bench. Are they resting him too, do you reckon, Aaron?
He's only had the 1 touch, Jamo, so...
They're going to run out of options if they keep doing that. 7 points to the lead to the Power. Flying across the ruck contest, Neil wins it down. Clearance for Port Adelaide, tumbles towards the 50. Durden clean, gathered, arced away from O'Sullivan. Releases Moraes, who pulls the kick from 25. And Christian in the city of Churches gets the goal at the northern end near the Cathedral. Port Adelaide back up by 13 points. 7-7, 49 to 6 straight, 36. Christian Moraes on the board. And we've played 16 minutes into the second term on ABC Sport.
It's a hot game, Eb. Like, they really are. I mean, in terms of just, you just put the foot down and just go as hard as you can at this stage of the game, I guess. But it's a really hot game. Like, offensively, both teams, once they've got it, they are running.
I was going to say, I feel like both teams are really trying to get their offensive game going. So it's an exciting game for spectators and for us as well, because so many momentum shifts. But Port Adelaide have been on top probably since the 15-minute mark in the first quarter for sure.
So Zach Butters up to 9 touches. He's getting himself in the game.
Got a whole lot of tackling in this quarter, Dom. 8 apiece.
So Neil Grathers from the ruck contest, and he's pinged this time. Tackled by Jason Horn-Francis, incorrect disposal. So Port try to move this quickly. Gets it to the goal kicker and Moraes. Lateral movement. He goes further out wide. Finds Logan Evans at centre wing, up towards right half forward. Whitlock nursed under the footy by Stewart. Goes out over the back. We'll have a throw-in in front of the scoreboard. Port leading by 13 points. 3 goals to 2 this quarter. 18 minutes gone.
So Shaz is from Kingston, Jamo, but Larry, who's her husband, is a Cat supporter. So there you go. Tough in the household tonight. Tossed in. Bailey Smith trying to gather, bobbled away. Bar of soap. Horn-Francis there. Gives it to Barters. Top of the goal square. Georgiades flew, as did Whitlock, off hands. Tom Stewart's there. Gives it to Neal, and now Bruin across to O'Sullivan. Port applying the pressure, but the Cats are working through it. Bruin tries to go across the body. It's a tumbling kick. Crashing in came Neal, picked up by Guthrie. Well kicked down the line. Jack Martin's there waiting for the overlap, and here he is, riding shotgun. Brad close. Out of North Gambia towards the 50, looking for Cameron, but Aaliyah gets in front. Shades of the Walker-Wilkie battle. It was all Jezza early. Maybe Aaliyah's getting some back.
And change this matchup. Or it's a bit of a mixture in Jones and Aaliyah.
Short pass to Farrell, left half back. It's Port Adelaide by 13, closing in on time on in the second.
So he'll switch the play out in front of Evans, who's got a paddock in the 50. No one near him. So he takes a bounce, runs through right half back, kicks up the line. Georgiades marks. Switches it into the middle of the ground to Lai. Assesses his options. Just a bit much on that for Berry. Clean bowls Visentini. Working back from forward was Martin, who goes to Neal, who chips a nice ball out to Bowes. Not sure what he was doing there. Could have taken the mark. Tried to be too clever. Tried to take on the tackle play. Says the umpire. Visentini cleans up close, holding the ball. What was he doing, Em?
I'm not sure. I cannot understand why he wouldn't have put his two hands up.
It was almost as if he tried to tap it on rather than actually take the mark.
So Visentini with the big tackle pumps it inside the forward 50. Horn Francis launches at that. It's going to be a free kick too high. They go the way of the Cats, and they move it quickly through O'Connor.
To the eastern wing. Cats heading to the right-hand side of your radio dial. Riverbank stand end. Dempsey takes the mark. Has a couple of options. Releases Humphreys, who stepped in, then darted back out. Panicked as the walls closed in, and his kick's no good. Cut off by Evans, who got it to Butters, may have been collared high. Takes the free kick quickly. Disposal 7 for the term after Mullen had a lot of him in the first quarter. Uses Burgoyne and now out to left half back. Mark taken by Farrell in step 45. Short little pass to Berry, stepped off his line, has to go. Tries to place it to the broadcast wing, no good. Shallow. Zach Guthrie gets back, looks inboard for the Cats. Bruin to Smith. Had a lot of that tonight. Bailey Smith turns and wants to go. Hands it out wide. Warple on the left. Heads 45 out. Neal with a volleyball tap. Sets it straight down the throat of Ollie Henry from 45. Heads for goal. And Aaliyah, the desperate dive on the goal line. Knocks it in, or did he? Jeremy Cameron thought about soccering it through after, but we're going to go back and potentially have a score review here.
Might have hit the post.
I think Jeremy Cameron's saying hit the top of the square as opposed to go long for goal, which is... That's where you don't want it to be as a forward. The defender, you're quite happy because it was right on the line, and the defender, I think it's just hit the post, hasn't it?
Goal umpire has called it behind, and it does look like it has ricocheted right into the padding, so it should be a quick decision. We'll be able to get back underway.
Review complete. Looking at the second, we can see the ball makes contact with the goalpost.
So Geelong will be down 12. Late stages, second term, 7-7-49. Geelong's first behind of the night, 6-1-37. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Closing in on the start of Freo Collingwood as well, which is about 40 minutes away. You can hear the build-up on ABC Listen through Sport Extra.
So Bergman plays on from the kick-in, launches it up towards centre wing. Porter got some numbers if they can work it out. Drew to Burgoyne. He steps through the contest. Lowers the eyes, finds McKinlay, doesn't. Just too much on of it, and it goes out of bounds. So Lasso free kick gathered by Stewart. Short to Bruin. Defensive side centre wing, outer side of the ground. Kicks forward, finds Warple. Handballs to Smith on the run, steps inside. Going inside the forward 50, high ball up towards Cameron, nursed under the footy. Well roved there by Burne-Jones for Port Adelaide. Kicks out of defence up towards the wing. McKinlay marks this one on the paint of the boundary line on the chest. Right half back for the Power. They lead by 12.
We love the work of Rod Jamieson, but he's always getting stuck into me. And I think I said Freo Collingwood before. It's Freo Carlton coming up, and it's on AFL Extra as well. So he's my audit tonight.
Why didn't you correct me?
I was trying to do it behind the scenes, actually.
You corrected me.
Behind the scenes. I'm trying to... Well, you blokes get it right, seriously.
Correct.
The kick down the line was cut off by the Cats, but in turn, the miss kick out, or not on the full, but tumbling its way over the boundary line will be last disposal. So Port get another crack. McKinlay looks for Vicentini, flies in the pack, couldn't bring it down. Quick tackle laid, and we'll get a ball up right half forward for the Power.
We want feedback, Jamo.
If Eric Freeman was in this box, he'd be belting you in the head with a feather duster right now.
HR, please. Sweet down. Willem Drews in front of the Odie stand, but leaves the footy behind. Tackle laid on Bailey Smith by Wines. Goes back to Drew, and he's caressed to the carpet. Another ball up. Shout out to Justin, who's listening in from New York. Texted in on 0437 774 774. It is Port by 12. Another stoppage, towed out of there by Hon Francis. Butters did well in the hard tackle to get a handball to Burgoyne, but it was a throw. Commentators curse. Geelong will have it just forward of left half back. And a free kick to be taken in front of the Odie stand.
Kick down the line. Brought to ground by Port Adelaide, and they're clean. Bergman to Burgoyne to Bergman. His kick for Horn Francis was just a little too cute, and Mullen gets in there and fists it out over the boundary line. So 24 and a half minutes gone. Port Adelaide, after setting the first 2 goals in 2 minutes, have really dominated this match.
You're walking around New York listening to the footy in Adelaide. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's a pretty good life. Clearance goes the way of Geelong. Quick kick forward. Aaliyah had 2 hands on it. Couldn't complete the mark. There's Dangerfield. He's off the bench, but Lai was in front of him. Handballed it to Burn-Jones. Off to Richards, who's been busy tonight. Clever kick towards Berry. And he's on the run in front of Bowes. Kicks up towards left half forward. It's Durden versus Humphreys, and he used his strength. Pushed him off. Marks 55 from goal. Just waiting for the forward line to move, but it also allows the Geelong players to come back. Oh, Ware's dropped a sitter. He wasn't going to be paid the mark anyway. Durden butters up and goes again. Kicks towards Visentini. Got 2 on it, brought it to ground. Going hard was Richards. Did well was O'Sullivan. He handballed to a teammate, put him right under the pump. Ball remains in dispute. Tunnel ball there from Smith. Holmes comes the other way, Drew the other. Going lower was McKinlay, but cleaner with Geelong. Handballs it out defence towards Bowes. He took on the tackle this time from Butters. Holding the ball, says the umpire. He's tripped him over. Butters wins his first free kick. He'll be pretty happy about that.
Quickly, he wants to move it on. Steps inboard and places it 40 out. Chase Burgoyne was on the march. Bounced off his chest, uncontested grab. Ricocheted though to Berry. Gets it to Lockie Jones. Kick smothered by Martin. Burgoyne gets another crack. Retreats with the handball to Burn-Jones, who sprays it into the 50. Had options. Humphreys takes the mark. Jeez, Chase should have swallowed it.
Oh, yeah.
Geelong footy. They're currently trailing by 12. They move it up to the centre square. Mark taken by Manor, who gives it to Warple, and now they're out here, right half forward. Bowes with a hot handball. Bailey Smith nearly left it behind. Goes back under pressure in the tackle. Missed his handball, gets another crack. He looked at the umpire waiting for the whistle that wasn't there. Warple rolls it up to half forward. Cameron's caught behind Lai. Wines wants to keep it in. Hands it to Ware. Check side up through the broadcast wing. Out to meet it is Atkins. He's well guarded by Durden. Tackle, ball shot out, holding the ball.
Geez, the Cats just butchered that, didn't they, too? They were out. Bailey Smith couldn't retain the football, and they had Jeremy Cameron over the back.
Another holding the ball call, and McKinlay put the pressure on Smith there, Jamo. That was important. So the switch is on for Port Adelaide. Got it to Bergman. Now Burn-Jones at true centre half back. Short ball to Moraes in the centre circle. Back towards Lai.
Sorry, Tom. Whether the occasion or whether the opposition, I think this is as physical I've seen Port Adelaide this season.
Evans on centre wing to Moraes. There's no one on the mark, so he can cruise forward. That's what he does. He's going to set one up. Mark that, please, he says. Flying was Visentini. Ball brought to ground. Good shepherd laid there, so Richards runs onto it, has a shot from the pocket. It's pretty hard to kick him from there on the right boot in the left forward pocket. Just missed away to the left, minus score. Port a 7-8-50, Geelong 6-1-37 late in this second term for ABC Sport.
That was the voice of Tom Wilson. Aaron Bryans with you alongside Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff. Braden Ingram's downstairs as well. We've got Fremantle and Carlton to come. There's a bit of an overlap, but once this game wraps up, we'll take you there for the second half.
Who were they playing?
Fremantle and Carlton. Jamo?
Cheeky Jamo.
Dempsey and Stewart just stat padding a bit. Couple of kick marks in the left back pocket. Finally, they'll pull the trigger. Dempsey goes long, out to the eastern side. Dangerfield stayed down. Aaliyah flew off hands. Head over the footy. Burn-Jones can't extract it. Picked up by Bergman, though. He gives it to Aaliyah and releases the runner. Moraes Up towards Burgoyne, he waited for the footy, and Stewart closed in with the fist to knock it over the boundary line.
Well, Murray's and Richards' second quarter has been lively. Like they're not only just winning the footy, they're crashing through backs and building that momentum that Port Adelaide didn't have in the first 10 minutes, but have been on top since. Super impressive. Murray's also had the 7 disposals, 200 metres gained, so the youngsters are stepping up.
Over the shoulder in the ruck battle on the boundary throw in, Mitch Edwards gives it away to Jordan Sweet. Just outside 50, Sweet spots a target he likes and pull it past. It's too high for Jack Whitlock, which is a tough task. Skids over the top and out towards the scoreboard, boundary throw-in.
25 seconds remaining too. Should have gone back and had a shot and actually sucked the clock.
Late chance for some momentum for Port. They were down 16 in the first. Now it is Geelong who trail by 13. Port with maybe one last gasp before half-time.
Jordan Sweet will grab this out of the air and snap, Tom.
Boundary throw-in. That's what he tried to do instead. He knocked it towards the top of the goal square, gathered by Stewart, who took him on, takes a bounce, or maybe took him on too much. Atkins rides 2 tackles. No prior, says the umpire. So we'll have a ball up, 40 from goal for Port Adelaide, still time. Sweet and Edwards. Sweet knocks it forward. Running onto it was the other ruckman, Vizentini. Quick handball to Horn Francis. Underground ball towards his teammates. Time might beat them. Moraes to Horn Francis. There's the siren. Well, after how it started, it looked like it could be a long night for Port Adelaide, but since then they've launched. They lead by 13 points at half-time against the high-flying Cats. They're 7-8-50, Geelong 6-1-37.
Be a massive upset if they can pull it off. I'm sure Geelong have plenty in the tank, though, for this second half. Up against it, no Mark Blitzarves, who's out with a hyperextension of the lateral ligament. Had a smother come across the body as he tried to kick, and as a result is out for the game. And they had a late change as well. Sam de Koning managed, and it brought Brad Close in. So suddenly they're a little bit undermanned down back, the Cats. Port Adelaide had to pull a late change as well. Todd Marshall was crook. Meant that Jack Watkins had to play his third game in 6 days, and fresh off the Redlegs, or the Magpies lost to the Redlegs last night, and now featuring at AFL level, but looking all right so far, considering how much footy he's had to play in the space of a week. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson with you for the call, alongside Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff, as we continue your Anzac Day fixture of footy, one that does mean so much to Port Adelaide, hosting their 22nd consecutive Anzac appeal game. They do a lot of work as well with their community programs, including an 80th Veterans program where they work with former members of the Defence Force and the Navy to transition back into civilian life. And then they've also got their Power to Thrive program where that kind of supports the families and the children who are impacted by those who serve overseas. So big night for them, as is the Geelong Footy Club, who haven't actually played on this day in 18 years, so they get a crack on Anzac Day to show their stuff. It is Port Adelaide by 13 points. The goal scorers, Mitch Georgiades with 3, singles to Farrell, Moraes, Sweet and Durden. And for the Cats, 3 to Cameron, individuals to Martin, Neal and Dangerfield. Interesting game, Noffy, but yeah, Port Adelaide have shown a bit of spark the last fortnight, and they've backed it up tonight.
Spark's probably a good word, Aaron. I just touch on the likes of Richard. I'm really impressed with this. He's reminding me a little bit like Butters in terms of just crashing through packs, darting through it. And we spoke about it pre-match that Butters was going to have Mullen go to him, and it was going to take the whole team, and it was going to take players to step up. And I certainly thought that, Jason Horne-Francis also got his hand on it with 8 disposals, and Butters certainly got his upper hand of Mullen that quarter. He had the 9 disposals as well. But yeah, I've been super impressed with Port Adelaide's composure when they've had ball in hand as well. I know Mitch Georgiades has kicked the 2 goals 3, but they've given him all opportunities to have shots on goal. But yeah, they're just all over Geelong. Geelong can't get their game going at all.
Well, I think some of the players you spoke of too, like super impressive Moraes, just his energy and the where he's winning the football too. He's running hard, 9 uncontested. And Joe Richards, once again, Zach Butters gets back into the game. No wonder Port Adelaide is starting to get on top. The clearance work, Port Adelaide really stepped up, 15-6. Tackling leading the way, uncontested 81-59. And then the only concern for me around Port is that maybe they've just thrown their biggest punch right now. Like, whether they've just burnt too much energy. Georgiades, the shots on goal, the amount of football they had. The defence of Geelong is really standing up. They haven't been able to go from one end to the other. They want to take it on. They haven't been as clean by foot, Geelong, as we know they can be too, but the hit-out's 15-5. When you just have a look at what Vicentini has been able to do, and Jordan Sweet, that's probably the best games I've seen both of these blokes play, actually, too. So taking advantage of no number one ruck for Geelong at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised Chris Scott just swings a change, whether Shannon Neal comes in and just provides something else to see if they can just settle the game down.
I know Josh Franco was incensed when Dante Vicentini played the first game of the season and then was dropped, even though he didn't really have a poor performance, but they decided to flip the switch, and it just felt like the youngster wasn't really getting a chance to build some chemistry. And then you see last week when they go tandem against Hawthorn that it really negated Reeves and Meek, and it's backing up tonight that maybe the solution moving forward is to go 1-2 punch in the middle and be able to negate that. And then, as you touched on, Noffy, I think in the opening month of the season, the bottom six of Port Adelaide got exposed. The depth just wasn't standing up. And then you look at the guys tonight, as you touched on, like your Richards and your Lyes and your Durdens, and they're getting a full range of support from the supporting cast, which probably hasn't been the case across the campaign.
Absolutely, and that's not even talking about the likes of Farrell and McKinlay having a real impact. I feel like McKinlay in the first quarter especially was certainly all over it. But, Joe, I'm glad you touched on it. I think, as well as Vicentini's, but Sweet's game is presence. You know, when you see, and as a team when you're out there, when you see your big man kind of stamp their authority, and they just bring a different kind of presence and energy. I thought that's something that, especially when Blizzards went off and he looked in a lot of discomfort, when he went to get on that run and he couldn't, I thought, oh dear, I think Geelong are in trouble here. But in terms of taking the momentum and, you know, when Blizzard's going off and you've got the two rucks, you've got to take advantage of that. Yeah. And I think they've been able to. And Jamo, you touched on how they hit their punch too early. I haven't seen Geelong at all in that second quarter throw a punch or look like getting back into the game.
It's just like poking a bear, though, too. They just take a bit of a breather, and maybe through your words, Aaron, just taking a rest at the moment. But hit out Sweet 14, Vicentini 12. Mitch Edwards only in his sixth game. He's had 8, then Shannon Neal 3. So hits to advantage well in favour of Port Adelaide. But the clearance work, Ocean Mullen is leading the way. Then with Drew Horne-Francis, Smith's chips in there too. First possession, it's sort of a bit of a mixed bag. So that's why I'm worried that I feel that Port Adelaide have probably thrown their biggest punch. You know, like Zach Butters stepped up. Horne-Francis was okay in that. Better in the first quarter than he was in the second. So Marias, look, it's a long way from it, but certainly a very big offensive game. Not a whole lot of tackling in that second quarter.
Thoughts of Rod Jamison and Ebony Marinoff with you for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Port Adelaide by 13 at the major break. A couple of texts coming through. Merv says, sounds like the two big boys for Port Adelaide is working well. Let's stick with Sweet and Vicentini. Another listener in who's Grant from Hobart getting in touch with us about the Tassie team in the VFL who are unbeaten to start their induction into the league, and apparently they're leading at quarter time at Bellerive over Carlton by 5 points, so see if they can go 5-0. Love this text from Stephen in Aberfoyle Park. I'm going to have to condense it a little bit, Steve, but I'll get the message across. Says, loving the commentary and observations from Ebony Marinoff. Very smooth, speaks great. As for you, Rod, I think you made a visit to Brighton High School a week or two ago. My friend in the library was very impressed with you. For whatever reason, just seems to be happy with it, and in this day and age, you take that as a compliment. And to finish, Glenelg with a good win over Sturt at Unley earlier. Good start to the season. That's from Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, well, we actually trained at Brighton High, so I was returning a tag. So thank you to Brighton High for doing that.
Yeah, you made a good impression in the library, Jamo.
Oh, hey. I never did you ever go there when you went?
I didn't want to say anything, but
I've got many a book still outstanding, I would have thought.
Earlier today, Hawthorn defeating Gold Coast by 49 points at Launceston. So the Suns are battling a little bit at the moment. They've lost 3 of the last 4, and the Hawks have won 6 in a row. Jack Gunston had 5 goals, and Carl Amon with 31 touches to lead the charge. Noah Anderson all right as well after his appendicitis. He had 31 on return. Collingwood defeated Essendon by 77 at the MCG. A 6-goal to 2 third quarter really broke the game apart. Scott Pendlebury, career-high 43 touches, 19 score involvements and 2 goals, alongside Nick Dacos with his 42 touches. Pendles wins his 4th Anzac medal. But there is a little bit of a downside to it. So he's 2 games away from breaking Boomer Harvey's record, and it was well placed because next week they would get to play the Hawks and then they would get the Cats away at the G. So both those games where he ties and breaks would have been these momentous occasions. But Craig McRae in the postscript said that due to the 5-day turnaround and obviously the big performance he put on today, he is unlikely to play next week, which awkwardly means he'll break the AFL games record at the SCG against Sydney.
He won't play.
Doesn't feel right. Yeah, so maybe
do it at the G, surely.
They'll maybe rest him twice across the next 4 games or something. But yeah, the Geelong game seemed like a really good occasion, but it doesn't sound like we're going to get there, unfortunately. But you'll still get, one of those. So it sounds like, Geelong at the G will equal the record, and then from there they'll decide what they want to do. They've got West Coast at the MCG after Sydney, so I don't know. It's not an old rival or anything, but at least you're at home and you can celebrate it.
But what a blockbuster at the SCG. I mean, it would be momentous. I mean, the Buddy moment there was, phenomenal when he kicked the 1,000 goals and, when Lockett broke the record. So it has had some great moments of our game.
We'll run through some of the other storylines out of the day as well in a moment. But for now, on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen with Port Adelaide up by 13, we can take the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with David Rowlands. The former director of the Australian National War Memorial, Brendan Nelson, has issued a strong defence of alleged war criminal Ben Robert Smith. Robert Smith, who's one of Australia's most decorated soldiers, attended a dawn service in Queensland today after being charged with the war crime of murder. He's accused of killing unarmed, handcuffed civilians during his service in the Australian SAS in Afghanistan between 2009 and 2012. At a dawn service event in London, Mr Nelson said the Victoria Cross recipient should be treated with respect.
Ben Robert Smith, as far as I'm concerned, is a national hero. All of us have a responsibility to support and respect all of our veterans, including Ben Robert Smith.
It comes as thousands of Australians have marked Anzac Day in large services overseas, with commemorations in Gallipoli, northern France and London. Here's Europe correspondent Elias Kluwer in London.
About 1,000 people gathered at the Wellington Arch in London's Hyde Park to mark Anzac Day. Princess Anne represented the royal family, and Australia's High Commissioner to the UK, Jay Weatherill, was also there. The former director of the Australian War Memorial, Brendan Nelson, who also attended the service in London, told the ABC that Anzac Day is not about glorifying war.
It is a reminder that ultimately this is about love and friendship.
Large services were also held in Villers-Bretonneux in the north of France and Anzac Cove at Gallipoli, a chance to recognise the sacrifice of Australians, many who fought for a freedom they never got to return home to and enjoy.
The Western Australian Premier says Anzac Day is a great day for Western Australians, enabling people to come together with a sense of strength and resilience. Roger Cook attended this morning's Kings Park dawn service with up to 30,000 others. He described those who called out and booed during the Welcome to Country address as disrespectful.
To disrespect one of our elders and a veteran themselves is just disgusting and disrespectful. And I want to thank RSL CEO Steve Barton for calling that disgraceful act out.
In the North Queensland city of Townsville, the community lined the Strand on the city's foreshore for the Anzac Parade. Baz Ruddick was there.
The march included an association from the 3rd Royal Australian Regiment commemorating the 75th anniversary of its involvement in the Korean War Battle of Kapyong. Also marching was the 3rd Armoured Brigade, one of the first Australian formations deployed in World War I. 3rd Brigade Commander Brigadier Ben McLennan says Anzac Day is especially meaningful in Townsville.
There's so many people from our community who turn out to come together and remember.
The parade included a flyover from the Army's Chinook helicopters and tributes to the Torres Strait Light Infantry Battalion, the Army's only Indigenous battalion.
US envoys are expected to depart for Pakistan later today in a new bid to salvage ceasefire talks with Iran, even as Tehran rules out direct negotiations with them. Iran denies its Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi will meet with President Donald Trump's Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner when they arrive in Islamabad. despite Mr Aragchi already being there. Pakistan's latest effort to broker a deal comes as an indefinite ceasefire has paused most fighting, but the economic fallout is still mounting, with global energy shipments disrupted by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. In another development, commercial flights have resumed from Tehran's international airport for the first time since the US and Israel launched the war on Iran nearly 2 months ago. The federal opposition has called on the government to prevent women and children with ties to ISIS from returning to Australia from Syria. Political reporter Isabella Tolhurst has more on this story.
The ABC has revealed that 4 women and 9 children have left the Al-Roj camp in Syria and have made their way to Damascus, where it's believed they'll try to begin their journey back to Australia. A government spokesperson says security agencies are monitoring the situation and have played no role in their repatriation. But Shadow Home Affairs Minister John O'Duniam says the Commonwealth should decide the nature of their return and the women should not be allowed to enter Australia at a timing of their own choosing. He says the government needs to explain what arrangements will be put in place to keep the Australian community safe.
And Sydney Roosters halfback Sam Walker has made history to help his side demolish St George Illawarra 62-16 in their Anzac Day match at the Sydney Football Stadium, setting a record for the most number of points with 26 ever scored in the traditional fixture.
Why do we collect things? And how much is too much? Join me, Annabelle Crabb, as I venture into the secret stacks of the State Library of New South Wales and discover that most of the collection isn't books at all. Search for the History or Hoarding podcast on ABC Listen.
This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
Joe Berry pops up, short pass. Joe Richards has a runner, releases Farrell with the lethal left. It's a Farrell barrel from 55. Excellent finish, and Port in the space of 30 seconds immediately hit the scoreboard. Lead is 12 points straight after quarter time. Jezza pumps it up towards the goal square, backtracking. Jack Martin gets in front uncontested, takes an easy grab. Martin plays on quickly and kicks the goal.
Boundary throw in, Sweep takes it out of the ruck, goes through a tackle, handballs it off to Georgiades. Can he finish on the snap? He does this time! Georgiades with a third. So Cameron has had limited opportunities, but he's made the most of them so far, and he does it again. He's got 3 on the night, and the Cats are kicking perfectly straight. They're 6 straight.
Clearance for Port Adelaide, tumbles towards the 50, Durden clean, gathered, arced away from O'Sullivan, releases Moraes, who pulls the kick from 25, and Christian in the city of Churches gets the goal at the northern end near the cathedral.
Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and on ABC Listen.
A day all about courage and sacrifice and commemorating those who have served for us across many a decade, and tonight we're seeing some really hard footy to live up to the occasion. Both Port Adelaide and Geelong throwing their bodies on the line, and it's resulted in a pretty close contest. The Power up by 13 points at the major break, 7-8-50 to Geelong's 6-1-37. Plenty of injury news, so there was a late change for the Cats with Sam de Koning managed, brought Brad Close in. Mark Blitzarves has suffered a hyperextended lateral ligament, had a smother come across his body, so he's out of the game. Cats a little bit undermanned now down back. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, Jack Watkins came in for his 3rd game in 6 days after a couple of sandful affairs as the late in for the ill Todd Marshall, and has 4 touches for the night as a result. Text line 0437 774 774 if you do want to get in touch as well. Dave's done just that and is wondering who the goal-kicking coach is at Port Adelaide, because their inaccuracy continues to plague them. It's been happening the last few years. And tonight, Mitch Georgiades is probably the prime offender. He's had 3 goals, but 5 behinds as well. It really should be Port by at least 5-6 goals. But currently where we stand, it's game on. 13 points is the deficit. And Geelong, we kind of mentioned at the pre-game, the flying under the radar a bit in terms of premiership contention. They put together a really nice season, but are a little bit underwhelming at the moment. Port Adelaide have got on top of them after what was a hot start from the Cats. They kicked 4 of the first 5, I should say, and since then it's been all Port Adelaide in a one-way train. So we'll see what happens in the second half. The Cats are the best final quarter team in the league. They're unbeaten in that final quarter, so Port Adelaide will need to pull something out. It's pretty special, but At least we've got a game on our hands in front of a good crowd here at the Adelaide Oval for the 22nd consecutive Anzac Appeal Round game for the Power. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you alongside Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff, our star experts with 7 All-Australian Blazers between them, 4 premierships as well. Litany of accolades to break down the play for you tonight as well. Building up to Fremantle and Carlton, which is 10 minutes away now. So if you want to hear it, the AFL button on ABC Listen is your home. Clint Wilden, Mitch Turner, Sharad Wellingham and Cara Antonia are already underway there for the Len Hall tribute game. So you can hear that matchup. If you're sick to death of this one, you can head over. We won't be offended by it.
Why would you?
If you're staying with us, though, we'll get you to Perth Stadium once this game does conclude and we get some reaction from down in the rooms as well. News of the day, so William Houghton, who was the chairman of the AFL Appeals Board, has been terminated by the AFL after his contentious statement when he reduced Lance Collard's penalty down from 9 weeks to 2, saying that it is commonplace in the AFL for racist, homophobic and sexist comments. The AFL didn't take too kindly to that and as a result have given him the sack. So
Where's that bloke been living on the moon, has he, for the last 5 years?
It's a very archaic view. And yeah, unfortunately, like once you exit the AFL tribunal field and you get into a court of law, sometimes these decisions are open to interpretation, and the way that Will Houghton saw it was, probably a little bit more generous and lenient to Lance Collard than others.
And also the amount of work that the AFL's done, and certainly I don't want to speak for Ed, but the Players Association and the players themselves have worked in this space. And I know we've had some incidents that popped up, and that's why it was a topical case with Lance Collard, but a total misrepresentation, I think, of the entire industry, which is what made it such a shock, I think, for everyone involved.
It was clear the footy community came together as one on Thursday night and said this is not acceptable. And we even heard today on AFL Saturday, Max Gawn said he was embarrassed by the decision. Darcy Moore spoke in the pre-game to Corbin Middlemass, said he was deeply concerned. He's the head of the AFLPA, Darcy Moore. So, the players weren't happy, the league wasn't happy, and we get to a result where hopefully this doesn't happen again.
Or just even outside football, Aaron and Tom. Like, it's not just in football circles. Like, it's actually in the community and all around us. So it's what we're trying to stamp out and have been for quite some time. And just such an archaic view. And then commentary based on the position that gentleman held.
We want footy to be a safe space, and I think for those who are part of the LGBTQI plus community, if you hear something like that, it doesn't feel like it. So thankfully the league has took a stand.
For such a long time, and every year just stuff comes up. Every year where you think it can't get any bigger than this, and then just something pops up again. It just keeps coming.
Ollie Holland's also laid out for Carlton. He's headed back home to support his family after Elijah Holland's struggles last week. Port by 13, third quarter underway here at the Adelaide Oval. Here's Tom Wilson.
Visentini knocked it down to Wines, who gets it to Butters, who has some space, but it wasn't an ideal kick, although the outcome was good. It hit Horn Francis on the chest at centre half forward. He's 60 from goal. And he rolls around on the right boot, kicks towards the pocket, up towards Sweet, who'd rolled forward. Ball in dispute. O'Connor rides the tackles, and we'll have a ball up in the right forward pocket for the Power. As you mentioned, Aaron, up 13 points. It'll be quite the upset. We'll see what Geelong can do in this second half to get back into the contest, only trailing by 13 points. Smith got it off to Holmes, but his kick was smothered into the fifth row of the Riverbank stand. So we'll have another ball up, throw in, I should say, right forward pocket for Port Adelaide.
That Horn Francis kick, Georgiades just let out, and the defensive Geelong just sat back Tom Stewart. He had to hit him. He was all on his own.
Sweet down, but Zach Guthrie's there on the bounce. Gets the exiting kick for the Cats. Burgoyne front position on Martin, decides to go with the fist. Rolls towards the boundary line at Lear. Not a lot of room to work with. Tried to take on the tackler, spun over. And the boundary line saves him. It'll be tossed back in.
Because it's always, Tom Stewart's going to do that every time Georgiades leads. Just step back and go that third man because Port Adelaide want to go long. No wonder they're going to him all the time.
The question from Dave as to who's Port Adelaide's forwards coach. It's Darren Reeves, the man of your heart, Jamo, out at Glenelg.
Yeah, he wasn't there last year, and they had 12 or 13 games where they actually kicked more behinds than they did points. So
I think he's inherited the problem.
Goals.
Out of the stoppage,
Absolutely,
Max Holmes to Bailey Smith, had a triangle converge on him, threaded the needle out, but Mark O'Connor's run down. Ball shoots towards the logo broadcast wing. Well picked up by Manor. Pulled his kick 2 metres. Bounces to Lockie Jones for the Power. Shoots the handball to Wines. Tried to ride the contact of O'Connor. Crunched into in the centre circle. Will get a ball up.
Just keep an eye on Corey Durden too. That tackle in there. You think he's holding his left arm?
So Port by 13. Edwards down looking for Bruin. He's jostling for position there with Richards, who wins out. Shoots the handball. Joe Berry throws it on the boot up towards the 50. Santini spotted Burgoyne coming, tapped it straight down to him. The father-son with some skill gives the handball to Wines. Corey Durden, here he is now on the paint of 50. Looks for Horn Francis, who uses the body tremendously well. He bounces off Zach Guthrie and takes the mark. 20 from home, tight to the right.
It's wonderful execution there. And Jason Horn-Francis, he certainly stepped up in that second quarter. He's a classy player and should finish this one, but that's just great bodywork, isn't it?
Josh Carr said during the week, in a dream world, he'd have a Jason Horn-Francis on ball and one in the forward 50 because he's so damaging in the attacking half. Looking for his first of the night, disposal 15 for the game. It's a methodical approach. Jason Horn-Francis will kick from 30, and it's fading left aggressively. Ends up just squeezing through for a minor score. Port's lead is 14 points, which is their highest lead of the game. Geelong got it as high as 16 in the first quarter, now trailing.
I think West Coast, Jason Horn, he kicked 3 goals in the first quarter, I think. He's just dangerous to start in the middle and then go forward.
So the ball was brought out by Geelong. They won a free kick, defensive side of centre wing, took the advantage and then kicked it straight in and out over the boundary line. So it's going to be a Lasso free kick on the way of Richards. Short ball to Burn Jones and made him work for it, but he was strong. Defensive side of centre wing. This is a dangerous ball, but Aliir makes it work. Then he plays on, lowers the eyes. Short ball. Finds Wines near the centre circle. Geelong players have flooded back, so they're just trying to move the defence around. Goes to the logo, to Logan Evans. Short to Farrell. So 75 from home, probably beyond his range as well. Kicks a ball in towards the pocket. Visentini just went too far underneath it. And Stewart was waiting at the back, but he's kicked it straight to Farrell, who marks 60 out.
You can see what they're trying to do, Eb. They're just going forward, going short, maintaining possession.
Kane Farrell to the top of the goal square, couple of flyers, and they spoil each other again. Whitlock and Georgiades both at the deck. Humphreys can run away with it, kicks a little short on the bounce. Half volley to Bruin, he's under pressure. Bounced off the handball, got it to Zach Guthrie, and then Miss Bailey Smith mopping it up. Corey Durden hands it to Wines for the power. Central now to Horn Francis and Bergman from 45. Bergman will finish for the power as they cash in on the turnover. It is Port Adelaide by 20 points in the third term. 8-9-57 to 6-1-37. 5 played third quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport with Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff.
I mean, we've spoken about Richards, but Durden's game and his ability to just have his footy smarts. A couple of handballs out, like that's something we probably didn't see in the early parts of the season. Port Adelaide possessing the footy and making really strong decisions. I mean, Miles Bergman, I thought he was going to play a bit more mid this year, and we touched on it pre-match. His form certainly hasn't been up to scratch, but that's what he can do. That's a big-time play. And excellent hands by Ollie Wines. He just allowed, the Geelong player to come to him. Bergman goal on the outside. That's a lifter for a team.
Well, Geelong and Collingwood want you to play. They want you to kick long. They want you to kick down the line because they drop back and then they have that extra man to come up. So Port Adelaide are playing smart and kicking short and low.
Burgoyne off the wing, got the clearance, kicks it inside the forward 50. Visentini puts some pressure on Henry. The Cats are under the pump, trying to work it by hands. Handball towards Horn Francis. He goes the quick kick. It sits for Durden. He tries to fend off the tackle, goes the banana and kicks a goal. That's his second check side goal of the night. Oh, looks like they're going to be looking at this one. So it looked like a goal. The crowd went up and the umpires are conversing, and even Durden was telling his teammates to run back. So must have flicked the post. We'll have a review on the arc.
Review complete.
He could have actually handballed inside too. He had a number of different options as well, and he chose to...
Took my words, Jamo. Visentini's there. And that's, in terms of this game and the momentum, I mean, Geelong are the best fourth quarter team in the competition. You've got to make goals count. And that was probably just a little bit selfish for me.
Wasn't it? Just deal the cards. Come on, deal the cards.
8-10, Port Adelaide 58, Geelong 6-1-37.
And another dangerous exit. Zach Guthrie tried to weight it towards Bailey Smith. Racing across to stick a fist in is Zach Butters, and the skipper gets some applause from his teammates and the home crowd. Boundary throw in, 45 out. Still in Port's 50. They've locked it in. It's old Ken Hinkley style right now. Just entry after entry after entry.
Well, Geelong are doing things at the moment that they're unaccustomed to do. The pressure from Port is very good.
Edwards wins it down. Sharks though. Horne-Francis arches the back away from trouble. Gives it to Wines. Centres into the 50. Three Cats collide in a heavy collision. Zach Guthrie tunnelled by O'Sullivan. They do have a third out the back door, but the exiting kick will come straight back in. Bergman turns. Balks his way past close. From 60, Miles Bergman heads for home, and it's not through on the line for a behind. Gee, that would have been the highlight of the night. Miles Bergman tried to go the distance, and in the end, it's Port by 22. 8 played, third term.
This is an absolute peppering from the Power.
Inside 50s, 7-0 right now. 8 marks to 2 in favour of Port in this quarter.
O'Sullivan. There's a hold at the front of the contest, and Lai thought he was getting pushed out of the contest, but Manna's going to win the free kick.
Ollie Wines 5, Horne-Francis 4, Kane Farrell 3. Tom Stewart in defence leading the way with 5 disposals.
Lawson Humphreys at left half back. Goes to the corner of the square and finds Bruin.
So 16 of the last 19 scoring shots for Port Adelaide, 7 of the last 9 goals as well.
So Bruin gets it off to Mullen, defensive side of centre wing. They're just trying to craft their way up, but played into the Power's hands. And Logan Evans slides back and takes the intercept mark. Defensive side of the logo. Dangerous kick towards Farrell. He handballs to Butters, who hits Durden, who's 80 from goal for the Power centre wing.
Looking good, Port. Going to be their best performance of the season so far. Durden steps inside, hooks it across the body. Burgoyne flies, but it's a little too high for him. O'Sullivan cuts it off at the back.
That's the one they don't want to do. They just don't want to kick it long. You're just going to talk and walk straight into where Geelong are set up and how they want you to play. They do manipulate you very well.
O'Sullivan to Jack Henry and now Humphreys. Top of the defensive goal square. They just look lost trying to get out of defensive 50 right now. Humphreys will just bang it long. A hit and hope. 2-on-2 eastern side. Neil front position knocked it down. Horne-Francis there again, but he lost his feet this time. Just slipped under the Saturday night dew. And tackle laid holding the ball. Free kick to Tom Atkins. The absolute tackling machine has it right in front of the Williams stand. It is Port by 22.
Tackle number 7.
Atkins through the outer side centre wing. Aaliyah flies. Got to try to get a fist in. I reckon it was just the edge of his knuckle. It's trickled its way towards the boundary line and Farrell helps it get there. It'll be tossed in right half forward for the Cats. In front of the Wanganeen stand. They've had a pretty difficult third quarter. The inside 50 count, 8-0.
It's 37-18 overall inside 50s in favour of Port Adelaide, but they've only got the 22-point margin.
Yep, only 1 goal this quarter too, Jamo. After all that dominance. Atkins gets it to Bowes under a lot of pressure. Out towards Bruin. Side steps around Ware. Kicks inside the forward 50. Flying at it was Neil. Where are the Rovers? Bailey Smith's one of them. Flicks it back to Ollie Henry. High ball. Umpire says not 15. Ware gets a fist in over close anyway. Out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in front of the scoreboard, which reads Port 8-11-59, Geelong 6-1-37, 11 minutes gone, third term.
Freo Carlton underway, so we'll keep you up to date with the score there, but the Dockers on the board first. 1 straight 6, Carlton yet to score. Jai Amos backing up his big performance in the Derby. Tossed in, Mullen tackled by Butters, ball pops out, tight line from Bruin who tried something special. Kicks it out on the full, Port free, left back pocket.
Something that Geelong don't normally do. He's had a shot on goal. They're one of the better teams at trying to bring a teammate into the game. Ryan Myers missing him tonight.
Good crowd, and feels like there's a bit of buzz there. They can sense something special. Kick down the line. Sweet did well in traffic. Got a handball tumbling towards Drew, and now Butters, who's got some space on Mull in the last few quarters. Kicks it to Richards. They want to go quick. Shoots the handball wide. Elias running into space. Kicks up to right half forward. One-on-one. McKinlay takes it in front of Humphreys. Had the runner in Durden. Bit too hot with the footy. Durden left it behind. Slips and flings it over his head over the boundary line. It'll be tossed in.
But again, Durden there tried to sell Candy. McKinlay was there to get the handball back. Like, just the small things, but another, a little bit of bluster by Durden, I feel.
Missed opportunity to go forward. They got a boundary throw in now. Sweet knocks it down. Running onto it was Burgoyne. Gathered by Horne-Francis instead. Over to Richards, to Evans. They're working their way cleverly. And McKinlay, that man who won that marking contest earlier, takes the mark 45 out directly in front.
Jordan Sweet is up and about. He's into the two Geelong players as they both come to the bench and he takes a rest. Ollie Wines comes back on.
So a set shot here for McKinlay. Just testing if there's any breeze. The old Matthew Lloyd trick.
Ollie Wines has run to the ground like he's just run 32 kilometres and still got another 10 to go.
McKinlay from 50. He's hit it well distance-wise, but away to the right. And Tommy Stewart does what he's done so many times. Gets the fist in there and rushes it through for a minor score. 8-12-60. Geelong is 6-1-37. Braden Ingram on the boundary.
Just keep an eye on power defender Alir. He's just grabbing at his back there and almost doing some Pilates-style exercises. He's still on the ground and running, but he's definitely a little bit sore with that back.
Stewart, the 1-2 with Bowes on the exit, and you could see the look on his face as soon as it left the boot. Out on the full. Port will send it straight back in. Burgoyne spotted a player all alone in Whitlock. Humphreys desperately gets back to stick a hand in. Whitlock had some space on Stewart, who I think was still lost in the error from before. Boundary throw in to come 40 out. Geelong look a shell of themselves right now.
You ever run a marathon, Tom?
I was meant to train for one last year and didn't, so I didn't run one.
Tossed in. Martin did the ruck work against Vicentini. Good hops. Won it down. Knocked it towards Humphreys and then Holmes, and now Bowes tried the outside of the boot. Didn't make good contact. Tumbles its way towards a couple of power players. McKinlay back to Ware. Curls it out towards the left forward pocket. Durden was waiting. Fist comes in from Humphreys again. He's doing a lot of work, Lawson Humphreys, for not a lot of stats. It's just a desperate couple of smothers and spoils to try and keep the game alive.
Good defensive work.
Caught by 23. 17 of the last 20 scoring shots. Tossed in. Vicentini taps it down. Head over the footy. Georgiades shot a handball through traffic to Wines. The check side from 30s across the face. And it will be another boundary throw-in. Taking a bit of momentum out of the game, Jamo, is all these errors and missed shots.
Yeah, again, just the inside 50s. Port Adelaide 11-1. It's just the opportunity to be able to just smash Geelong and really open this game up, and they haven't been able to do it.
Wonder what the expected score would be, which is often a stat that comes out in post-play. They're leading. Vicentini knocks it down, gathered by Drew. A high ball. Won't go the required journey. Under it was Humphreys. Roving was Whitlock. Quick kick around the body. Not going to make the distance. Carried over the line by O'Sullivan. So another minor score. That's 4 in a row for the Power. Brings the margin to 24 points.
Why didn't you do the work, Tom?
11-1 inside 50s as well. Out to the eastern side. Same old story. Bit of deja vu in the third quarter. Geelong kick it out. Porter going to bang it back in. Lockie Jones, true centre wing, will run through the logo. Didn't really have a lot of options. He just kept charging towards the centre square. He'll head back to Darcy Byrne-Jones.
It's better defence by Geelong.
Fran on the text line, loving the call. Heard my Pie song earlier. Now I get the chance to hear the Power. Fran excited about what Port Adelaide are doing. Kick to Aaliyah. Now Watkins heads to right half forward. Willem Drew, plenty of time to assess his options. They're queuing up. And Corey Durden gets there in front of Bailey Smith to take the mark. 40 out, 45 to the right.
It's really smart football by Port Adelaide. It's almost as if they sort of half knew what they were doing in the second quarter and couldn't execute it. Now just all over Geelong, 53-46 disposals. But the kicking efficiency, way better.
Wore the medals of his great-great-grandfather, William Reginald Durden, who escaped from German capture twice in the war. And now on Anzac Day gets a crack. Durden from 50, a little shallow on the kick, and on the behind line, Mitch Georgiades was at the back of the pack, and it's just fallen in his lap. Geelong look absolutely clueless. It is a crisp side that we haven't seen in maybe years. Mitch Georgiades on the straight line angle, steps across on the right and sprays it. Another behind for Mitch Georgiades and Port Adelaide. So their lead's currently 25 points. Mitch Georgiades 3-6 on the night.
So Charlie Dixon scoreline for all the Port fans will remember. I reckon that might have been in that West Coast game, and maybe against a Geelong contest as well. And another kick. They just can't get it across the halfway line, Jammer.
Is that the third one this quarter they've actually just put out on the full or turned it over, and Port Adelaide now going back in over their head?
Well, Paddy Dangerfield's only had the one disposal for the game, but Jeremy Cameron, Dempsey, Warple, Neal, Cameron, Martin, all yet to touch the ball in this quarter.
So a long kick inside the forward 50s gathered up by the Cats. They switch the play to Martin. He finds Ollie Henry, often at this end of the ground, right half back for the Cats. We're trailing by 25 points. Port Adelaide 8-14-62, Geelong 6-1-37, dominating all the key stats. They're only 25 points down. That's the positive spin. So short ball to Bowes, asked to play on. Defensive side of centre wing. Over the top to Atkins by hand. He lowers his eyes and finds Warple. 85 from goal.
This has been the challenge for Geelong this quarter. They just can't get it inside 50.
It's their first entry of the term, of the half. Big fly, brought to ground. Dangerfield's there. Watches it go out over the boundary line with Byrne-Jones. So we'll have a throw-in. Port leading by 25 points, 19 minutes gone in the third term.
Warple had close and chose not to, and then just kicks it down the line to that contest. Very poor option.
1-6 in the third quarter for Port. Geelong yet to hit the scoreboard. They're getting a chance here. Tossed in their 50. Taken out of the ruck by Neal. Hooks it around the body from 35. Straight out of the stoppage. Shannon Neal strikes. Great finish as he makes Dante Vicentini look pretty poor. Neal with his second, and Geelong finally get a goal to cut the flow and stem the bleeding. Margin's only 19. Cats are far from done here. 7-1-43. Port Adelaide 8-14-62. Time on third term on ABC Sport.
Well, one inside 50 for one goal this quarter. Geelong just another forward 50 stoppage. Neal too big and too strong in that instance. It kind of looked like Vicentini read the ruck completely offline, but Geelong certainly needed that. I know we touched on it. They hadn't gone inside 50 at all, and the names I said before just haven't been able to get their hands on the footy. But like we've all touched on, what is that? 22 scoring shots to 8. That is remarkable. Port Adelaide are up by the 19 points.
Back in the middle of the ground, Vicentini down to Butters, to Horne-Francis, who's bouncing. Kicking inside the forward 50 with a flat ball, and it hit Georgiades on the chest, and he dropped it. You can't get better service than that. Geelong come out of defence up towards Atkins. Evans gets it to Drew on the logo, rides the tackle, holding the footy. Atkins is on.
Number 8.
Fantastic work. They're trying to get the ball moving, so handball's off to Dempsey. And a free kick against Port Adelaide. Just dropped that ball there.
Mitch Georgiades could have beat Jason Dunstall's record if he had been clean tonight.
Spot on, Jamo. Dempsey up inside the forward 50 again. Flying was Henry. It was punched to the front of the contest. Quick kick forward, not the required journey. Lie, under pressure, handballs out towards Sweet. Lands in the lap of Henry, dribbling ball, pressure in the goal square. Hit the post. Oh, nervous moments there in the goal square.
Jacob Ware had deer in the headlights, just waiting for the footy and panicked. He's lucky he got away with that one. 3 goals is the margin. Port Adelaide lead in the third term. Byrne-Jones with a treacherous exit, little shallow. Lockie Jones with the target. Warple cut in front. Couldn't really get the vision to take the mark. And a tackle laid as Zach Guthrie wraps up Joe Berry. Ball up to come left half forward for Geelong.
This is where Port Adelaide, they need to continue to play the style and be brave and take the kick. They've missed a couple now. Deep in their defence, can they maintain it?
Falcon in the stoppage. Neal headbutts it forward. Ripped off the ball as Atkins. Butters' kick bounces off a couple of Cats. close to the boundary line. Wines will be walked over.
It was Georgiades.
It was Georgiades' chest.
He's got his hands in some dishwashing liquid or something at halftime, Jumbo.
He's got to have 100 touches of training, I think.
Not often when you have 3 goals, but it's a mare of a night. 3-6 is where he sits, Mitch Georgiades.
I stuck a couple of footies in a tub of Vaneski and put detergent in there to help with
Dockers by 6 at Perth Stadium as well. First term there against Carlton. You can hear it on ABC Listen. Tossed in out the back door. Holmes shoots the handball to Manor. Under a bit of pressure from Moraes. Gets it back to Atkins. Manor again. Just races his way towards the centre square. Darting away from trouble. Kick into the 50. On the march was Henry. Horn Francis floats in front. Gets the intercept mark for the Power. They're up by 18 points right now. Time on in the third.
Took his time there, Horn Francis. Got it to Sweet on the wing. Up towards Vizentini. Marks it at the high point. Jace Burgoyne's just come off the bench. Could have used that option. Instead goes inboard to Wines. 45 kick. Handballs to Butters. Just got his kick away in time. Inside the forward 50. Sitting under it was Stewart. Worried out of it in the contest. Big tackle there from Berry. And we'll have a ball up 35 from goal. 45-degree angle in the right forward pocket for the Power.
Ocean Mullen, the pressure on Butters.
So Sweet takes it out of the ruck, throws it on the boot, misses away to the right. He called that earlier, Jamo, that might happen. Minor score though, 8-15-63, Geelong 7-2, 44, 23 minutes gone.
Crowd right into it. It's Anzac Day footy on ABC Sport. Earlier, Hawthorn winners by 49 over Gold Coast. Collingwood knocked off Essendon by 77. Friend would say we've got a couple of blowouts, but this has been a good game. Stewart links up with Zach Guthrie. Heads to the broadcast wing. Flying was Edwards. There was a hold in the backdrop. Josh Lai to get the free kick. He's really starting to settle. He got towed up last week by Nick Watson. Has looked a lot better tonight.
I think what's happened here? Just don't know.
Lai. Short pass to Jace Burgoyne. He's just outside 50 right half forward.
Might go to Braden and check it out.
Mitch Edwards might have a finger problem.
Yep.
Burgoyne into the 50, looking for Georgiades. Too much on the kick.
Makes it hard if you ruck.
Stewart takes the intercept mark, left back pocket. We'll come down in a second, Braden, but I just don't trust Geelong here to kick out cleanly.
And a dart player.
Stewart goes long to left half back. 3 cuts fly. A couple of power plays stay down. And the tackle laid by Moraes on James Warple. What are you seeing down there, Braden?
Looks to have a dislocated finger on his right hand. The doctor was almost trying to pop it in while they were running to the bench. They tried to do it on the ground unsuccessfully, so he's now come off.
So Sweet is going against Jack Martin in the ruck. It's going to be a free kick for a throw here against Geelong. So winning the free is Berry. 3 against Warple. So he's got the ball 70 out. Goes back to Farrell, who's 80 out. Switches to Aliir in the centre circle. Working methodically here, Port. Willem Drew. Straightens up towards Moraes, who slipped when he was trying to take that mark. Got the handball away in time to Jones. Farrell spotted a target, looking for Sweet. Made him work for it. There's still 70 from goal here, Port. The big fella is feeling it. He hit the target as well. What is in the water in the Sweet household, Jamo?
He's gone right, he's gone left, and I thought, oh no, he's run himself into a whole lot of trouble. And then he's just absolutely laced out Joe Richards. And then just canted off.
If Zach Butters did that, we'd just be like, wow, what a superstar. That was special. So Joe Richards has got it. He'll take a kick of 50 from a 45-degree angle. Unloads, and that's another poor kick. They're really wasting their opportunities, Port Adelaide. If they had have just halved it, they would be winning by 50 points and the game would be over. It's not, though. They're 8-15-63, Geelong 7-2-44.
Right back pocket go the Cats, and Max Holmes full stride with a lengthy launch down the line. Fly from Dempsey, can't take it. Hits the deck. Ollie Henry there, spinning through 2. Drew a couple, did well to get it past. Handball now releases Dempsey. Inboard he looks to Manor. They're moving it slickly. Manor collides with Bailey Smith. They still get it out to Ollie Henry. The kick in the middle of 2 Cats. Jezza will gather it, says it's my time. Hooks it around the body and misses to the left. Jeremy Cameron with 3 in the first half. Haven't seen him in the third term. That's a minor score to make it a 19-point game late in the third quarter on ABC Sport.
So still a bit of time for Port Adelaide. Farrell plays on from the kick in.
2 minutes remaining in this third.
Over towards Alir, left half back. Puts it on the left boot towards centre wing. Flying is Georgiades, and he's caught that one.
There you go, Tom. Slippery hands are done.
He kicked it back towards Butters. Wasn't the required journey and puts his teammates under pressure. Sweet being one of them. And Close dives all over him. And we'll have a ball up forward of centre wing, outer side of the ground. These red time goals could prove crucial either way here. Knocked down in the ruck contest. Handball from Drew to Moraes. Got some support with Ware. Can he find a target? He hits Vizentini on the chest. Plays on quickly. Back to Moraes. His handball was behind Horne-Francis. It was behind him. And they've turned it over. Ball in dispute. Centre half back.
That's hurt him too, Horne-Francis.
He might have copped a nasty corky there. Up towards centre half forward. Big fly there from Lai. Bring it forward was Burn-Jones in the centre circle. Kept his feet, gets it off to Butters. Kicks inside the forward 50, finds Durden. He's got Georgiades running into the square. He wants him to go into the square. He didn't. So he's going to go back. Ebb. Oh, that's the third time this quarter, Corey Durden.
I'd be yelling at you. You've kicked 6 behinds. I'm not kicking it to you.
Oh, he's trying to direct traffic there. Mitch Georgiades was in the left forward pocket, and I think Durden was thinking to himself, look, I'm directly in front. As a goal kicker, small forward, I'm going to try and take this opportunity.
Jason Horne-Francis still limping around in the forward line.
Yeah, one to watch out for.
Yeah.
That was a hospital ball because it was so far behind him. Durden from 48 metres out. That's why he went back, because he knew he'd kick the goal. The power break, a run of 6 straight behinds, and Durden gets his second. And they go to 9:15:69 Geelong. 7:3:45, dying moments of this third quarter on ABC Sport. Braden Ingram.
Horne-Francis is headed back to the centre. I think he might be okay because he was calling for that kick from Durden while limping, running backwards. That's how desperate he was for it. Regardless, Durden went on to kick the goal, and yes, he is back in this centre bounce attendance.
Doesn't seem to be hobbling either. Did grab the quad after that contact, but yeah, good signs for Port Adelaide, who are rolling right now. 24 points is their lead.
Quite sure if it was Ocean Mullen maybe just anticipated or read where the handball was going to go and just got wrapped up awkwardly.
Reset in the middle. Neil doing the ruck work against Sweet. It falls down to Horne-Francis. Buffeted off the kick, but it heads to right half forward. Guthrie now wrestling for it with Richards. They carry all the way towards the boundary line, rather, and Bose is there. Did well to get out of dodge. Hooks it around the body. Aaliyah. Early read as he floated away from Dangerfield and takes the intercept mark. On the back 45, he'll slow things down for the Power as they link up Farrell and Aaliyah. And that'll do us for 3 quarters of footy. Listen to the roar. Plenty of appreciation at the Adelaide Oval. A situation not many expected us to be in. 3-quarter time, Port Adelaide up by 4 goals. 9:15:69 to Geelong's 7:3:45. We've said it all night. Cats haven't lost the last quarter all year. Have they got one last shot to throw at Port Adelaide as we head towards what could be a thrilling finish on ABC Sport? Goal scorers at the final change. Mitch Georgiades has had a rough night in front of goal. 3 goals, 6 for him. 2 to Corey Durden, singles to Sweet, Bergman, Moraes and Farrell. For Geelong, 3 to Cameron, 2 to Neil and singles to Dangerfield and Martin. Over at Perth Stadium, Fremantle lead by 13 over Carlton. Time on in the first there, and if you want to hear it, ABC Listen is your home through the AFL button, and we'll get you there at the conclusion of this game as well for the final game of our quadruple fixture in the Anzac Day matches in the AFL. Still to come tomorrow, another 3 games coming your way. So the Saints and the Eagles, the Lions and the Crows, and the Giants and the Roos, all after AFL Sunday from midday Eastern. It is great to have your company on a special day in the nation's calendar on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Look at me. Anne Edmonds, Kitty Flanagan, Magda Zabansky, and so many more.
Good morning, everyone. No one cares.
In comedy gems like Fisk, Kath and Kim, and Bad Company.
Fisk? No, thank you.
Comedy that leaves an impression. ABC iView.
This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
Half volley to Bruin. He's under pressure. Bounced off the handball. Got it to Zach Guthrie and then Miss Bailey Smith. Mopping it up. Corey Durden hands it to Wines for the power. Central now to Horn Francis and Bergman from 45. Bergman will finish for the power. Taken out of the ruck by Neal. Hooks it around the body from 35. Straight out of the stoppage. Shannon Neal strikes. Great finish as he makes Dante Vicentini look pretty poor. Neal with his second, and Geelong finally get a goal to cut the flow and stem the bleeding. Margin's only 19. Cats are far from done here.
Durden from 48 metres out. That's why he went back, because he knew he'd kick the goal. The power break, a run of 6 straight behinds.
Anzac Day footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital, and on ABC Listen.
You don't have to adjust your radio dials. Just the 3 goals in that third quarter. It was an errant affair, largely from Port Adelaide, who have been wayward tonight, but lead at the final change. They're up by 24 over Geelong. 9-15-69 is the score for them. Geelong 7-3-45. So a little bit of one-way traffic, but the accuracy is keeping the Cats in this contest. And we know Chris Scott can pull a rabbit out of the hat when he needs to. It's an uphill battle for Geelong. No Mark Blitzavs, who was injured early, a hyperextension of his lateral ligament. Mitch Edwards has been off with the dislocated finger as well, and they had the late change with Sam de Koning managed and Brad Close in. So let's see if they can climb the mountain away from home with a hostile crowd. Port Adelaide looking to end a run of 3 losses to the Cats and move their record to 3-4. Over at Perth Stadium, Fremantle by 7 over Carlton as they approach quarter time there, and you can hear it on ABC Listen. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson with you. We'll get the experts' thoughts of Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff in a moment, but quickly down to Braden Ingram before the fourth quarter.
So the Geelong skipper grabbed his troops well before the assistants got out there and Chris Scott and had a lengthy chat with them. I wouldn't say it was aggressive, but imploring them that they're still in this contest down by 4 goals. Dangerfield himself only has the 1 touch and continues to get his calf worked on. It's the doctor who's going to work on it yet again. This is the second time he's had treatment. We know he's already missed games earlier in the season with the calf issue. So at this stage, assuming he's going to stay out there, but only had the 1 touch at this stage. Mitch Edwards has had his finger popped back in. It looks like he'll be able to return, but they have had issues in the ruck. Even Mark Blitzarves has been out for much of the game with a knee injury. Aaron?
Keeping you busy down there, Braden. Stay warm, and you know it's a good night for the Port Adelaide faithful when perfect pairs results in a double yes. For those who aren't aware of it, it's one of the local games they play here for Port Adelaide games where it's a bit of a matchmaking thing, and both recipients who got to spend the game together have found love, apparently. So it's a good night in the festival state. Rod Jamieson, Ebony Marinoff, can Port Adelaide hold on here?
Oh, I think so. I mean, you feel a little bit silly at the start of the game. I felt like we're all Geelong just because they'd been so impressive. Their form line, Jeremy Cameron with the 10 goals last week, Smith in form, Holmes being able to, I guess, counteract at that half-back, really pounce in Geelong's forward half all year. And I'm thinking, how is Butters going to work through this? Jamo, you could probably argue, I think he's won the battle. First quarter certainly had to work into it, gave away a couple of free kicks, but his ability to bring himself in the game, a couple of handballs, he's probably had the biggest meters gained. He's had in the coaches' votes winning by about 8 votes, so he's in the informed player of the competition. He's still been able to have, what has he had? 20 disposals, he's had 8 contested, he's still had the 4 inside 50s, 359 metres gained. Like, he's still been able to have largely an impact. And I just certainly thought that Geelong were going to be able to absolutely put all clamps on that Port Adelaide midfielder, but it's been the likes of, Farrell off the half-back, Richards, Energy, Morass has had the 16 disposal, Ollie Wines had a few, experienced moments, you'd probably say. So I reckon Port Adelaide get the chockies, but we've still got, 30 more minutes of footy.
My only concern, once again, I feel Geelong, they play like the Harlem Globetrotters sometimes, and they can just do 10 or 15 minutes on you, and again, they're only 4 goals down. I thought Lawson Humphries was outstanding in the back half, where Port Adelaide won time in possession in that third quarter, 54% to 30. They were all over Geelong. And inside 50s, 18-6, so they just can't knock them out with their inability to be able to score, and it is an absolute trend. All of last year and so far this year, they just make it hard for themselves to win games. But Port Adelaide, it's as good a football I've seen them play this year.
They're up by 24. Is there an upset on the cards? Out of the middle, Vicentini to Horn Francis, knocks it to Butters. 1-2 with Wines. It is a good start for their superstars. Wines going for a run through the eastern wing, sends it to the 50. Jordan Sweet's been very good tonight. He's matched up with Jack Henry. The ball hits the deck and he becomes the tackler. Ball up, 45 out for Port. They're kicking to the left-hand side of your radio dial, northern end. Vicentini, or Sweet rather, paddles it looking for Buttles, but just put a bit too much on it, and it rolls towards the light tower. Freo by 8 over in Perth as well against Carlton. Quarter time closing in there. We'll get you to that after some fallout here at the Adelaide Oval.
So boundary throw in. Already another inside 50 for Port Adelaide. Start this quarter. Sweet knocks it down towards Wines, rides the tackle off to Horn Francis, chucks it on the left boot, and what a start it is for their superstar. Hits the scoreboard with a snap. And wow, Port get out to a 30-point margin. This could be the upset of the season. They're 10-15-75, Geelong 7-3-45, just a minute into this fourth term.
Well, they're able to do it in the second quarter. Kane Farrell kicking a goal within 30 seconds, and now this one. And Eb, you would know better than most too. Just the ball up or the boundary throw in, and just Jason Horne-Francis on the move.
Well, that's a killer in terms of a coach, because Bailey Smith actually had Jason Horne-Francis at the stoppage, but he let go of him, and then Mullen had to then go chase Jason Horne-Francis at a forward 50 stoppage. I mean, I'm a midfielder myself. You got to get goal side, and you got to put some body on. Like Jason Horne-Francis had a free, that 10-metre ride to that. Yeah, that's disappointing defence, but the momentum is going for the Port Adelaide fans.
Up by 30, Vicentini out of the ruck, hands it to Butters, his handball. Pocket picked by Bailey Smith. They need him to stand up into the 50, little long for Neil, and Alir takes the intercept mark with ease.
He's actually played pretty well, Alir, hasn't he? Normally, he's loose, and the stats suggest that his opponent kicks a lot of goals so far this year, but tonight he's actually got on top.
Short to Evans, and now Bergman, who again, after his injury-riddled start to the season, looks back to his best. Kicks a little long for Vicentini because he was held. Zach Guthrie, the offender. Dante has it at left half back. Looks to the corridor. It's 1 against 3, and he doesn't hit the target in Lockie Jones. Finds Mullen instead, who turns, surges away, looks for Dangerfield. Went the body against Evans. Gathers on the bounce. Danger, too strong. Stands through it. Hands it to Bruin, and his check side is a spray. Misses to the left, 15 out. Port Adelaide by 29.
Just can't finish at the moment, Geelong. They've normally been pretty good.
Bringing out of defence was Alir, and he goes to Moraes. Don't know if Burn Jones will be taking on that same kick as Vicentini.
Fremantle by 8 points at quarter time in Perth.
Goes back to Moraes at left half back. So, bit of tempo footy, up by 29 points, Port Adelaide. Down the line towards Vicentini, who gets a fly at it. Roving at best was Zach Guthrie on the left boot. Perfect pass to Smith. Doing well on the mark there was Moraes to hold him up for as long as he did. Kicks up towards Dangerfield in a one-on-one contest, and he was being held. It's played on, advantage taken, and he'd want to kick the goal, and he did, Manor. Right in front of your skipper, who'd won a free kick, and it would have been a certain goal, but he finished anyway. The Cats get one back and bring it back to 23 points. Port 10-15-75, Geelong 8-4-52, 4 minutes gone.
363 game of Patrick Dangerfield.
It's hard. What do you think? Like, in terms of manner there, like, you're 15 minutes,
I think
it's risky to take it, is it not? Like,
absolutely.
He knows that ball is like, that's an interesting one, but
all that matters is he kicked it.
He got the 6 points, didn't he, Aaron?
So Port by 23. Geelong continue to stay within arm's reach. Just waiting for the reset here in the middle. Tossed into the air. Adrian Adair's tapped down by Edwards. Gets it straight to Holmes. His handball got snatched away by Horne-Francis, who kicks it straight towards O'Connor. Not sure if that was 15, but he's happy to take it and head wide. Bailey Smith now on the eastern side. Disposal 25 for him incoming. Decides to race him board. A couple of power players close in. He did well. Got the kick out to Mullen. Centre circle right now for the 50-gamer. The man that Zach Tui called the Nick Dacos of Ireland. O'Sheen Mullen into the 50, 3-on-3, hits the deck, front and square close. Try to get a handball to Dangerfield, who had to become the tackler on Aaliyah.
That's not a bad title.
Ball out 25 out. It's a pretty good tag.
Where are you from?
Joondalup. Come with the...
I don't know.
I don't want to go there. Go with the Caleb Daniel of Joondalup, I'm pretty sure.
Knocked down towards Dangerfield. Had a few bites of that cherry, gathered by Burgoyne. He kicks out towards the wing. One-on-one contest out there, O'Sullivan and Whitlock. Handball to Humphreys on the 1-2, and I think that's going to be last touch. It is. So Whitlock wins the free kick. Defensive side of centre wing, outer side of the ground. Paul definitely can't take the foot off here. There's still so much time. Goes inboard to Wines. Wasn't the required 15, but he did well. And kicks it up towards Richards, who's potentially having his best game for the club. Ain't everywhere. Short pass to Watkins on the logo. Goes to his best mate in Butters. So very methodical approach. Flat ball up towards Ware, who fumbled it out over the boundary line. It'll be a throw. And the umpire is saying last touch off the back of his heel. So Stewart takes the free kick, gets it to the goal kicker in Manor. He plays on quickly up towards left half forward. Humphreys with a long ball inside forward 50. Contest is Dangerfield. It hit his chest. Trying to gather, just falling over as he does. Jones takes the tackler on in Smith. Gets it to Watkins, to Moraes. He's got players out the back looking in the target and finds Georgiades. Burgoyne's going to run into an open goal. If it sits for him, he marks it. He walks in and Jace Burgoyne kicks it out of Adelaide Oval. Port needed that. He went from end to end. And Jace Burgoyne with the finish. 11-15-81 Geelong, 8-4-52, 7 minutes gone. Final turn, Eb.
Well, I don't think Jace Burgoyne's the only one getting the high fives. Half the team's run down to Aaliyah and Jones just for their ability to win that ball 50-50. You got Patrick Dangerfield, like you touched on, Aaron, a really experienced player. They won a couple of 1v1s and were able to get all the way out the back. And Jace Burgoyne had nearly the whole 50. So that's great transition footy and something we probably hadn't seen at the Adelaide Oval from Port Adelaide this year.
You just got to trust your system on that occasion, isn't it, too? Your ability to be able to sit down. Tom Stewart almost got across to make that spoil on Georgiades, and then three defenders of Geelong. Jace Burgoyne was out the back. They had no chance.
Port by 29. Edwards to Atkins. Hospital handball to Bailey Smith. Crunched by Butters. Gives it away. Burgoyne to Moraes. Heads to right half forward. Little weighted pass. Trying to get it to Richards. Cutting across with Zach Guthrie. Jack Henry gets it to Bowes. Now Atkins. Short kick to Edwards. Fumbled now in the tackle of Farrell. Ball pops out. Atkins streamlining through. Couldn't control the footy. Collapses into the back of Berry. It will be a free kick to Port Adelaide in defensive 50.
Zach Butters let Bailey Smith know all about that in the middle of the ground too after he tackled him, and Port Adelaide turned the football over.
Shout out to the ADF and emergency service footballers who played the curtain raiser. They were asked to park right behind the hill on the entry of the left-hand side, and that's where Jace Burgoyne thumped the footy, so someone might have an insurance claim later tonight. Hopefully it didn't land on your car.
Actually, the emergency services trained at Glenelg Oval this week. It was good. There's a couple of fit-looking dudes in amongst that team, Aaron.
Great game. Came down to 2 points, and the ADF won in a thriller. Port down the eastern side, slipped through the midst of Vicentini. Head over the footy. Zach Guthrie's tackled for his troubles. Couple come in, and we'll get a ball up near the Odie stand. Port by 29 in the fourth term.
9 minutes gone. Clearance going the way of Port. Look at Butters surge through there. Kicks up towards Georgiades on the lead. Marks 45 metres out. Right up against the paint of the boundary on the scoreboard side of the ground.
What are you thinking, Eb? His fourth goal or his seventh point?
Did you hear me at all?
No.
7th point, Jamo. I'm getting used to these new headphones, but...
Well, they're hard to talk into behind your ear.
Well,
that's right. Who's got better execution, Eb with the mic or Georgiades with the boot? We'll find out.
I'm going to say Eb.
Mitch from 50 from the boundary. Mitch Georgiades gets his fourth. He could have had 8 tonight. And he gets it through.
He's had 10 shots.
Well, no one heard Eb's prediction anyway, so you could say that he was going to kick the goal.
I had full faith in Georgiades. I really did. He wants the Anzac Day medal, Tom.
Well, he's a chance.
Full faith. Nah, that's... In terms of what he's missed tonight, that I'll give him that. That is a fine finish, and Port Adelaide fans are certainly off their seat because, 9 minutes or so go, and you certainly don't feel like Geelong are getting any momentum to win this game.
No, Port Adelaide 12-15-87, Geelong 8-4-52. That's a 35-point margin. What a performance this is from Port, considering the predictions on them going into the season, especially after that loss to the Roos in round one.
Once again, 6 clearances to 1 in this quarter, uncontested, in control, 24-13, and another almost first possession, Port Adelaide. And the umpire will throw it up again.
Vicentini down, tried to crumb. Bailey Smith got him. We go again. Vicentini too strong for Edwards. Tapped it down, Wines. Off a step around the body, sends it back towards the 50. Jack Henry gets in front of Whitlock. Takes the intercept mark and the kick to Bailey Smith for the Cats' defensive edge. Ebony Marinoff voting on the Peter Badco medal tonight. Bailey Smith's kick was not great. Bounced off the body of Lai, though, will get to its intended target. O'Connor tumbles a worm burner through to Brad Close. Gives it off to Jack Henry towards the 50. Short drop. O'Neill trapped it well. Gives it to Warple. Then Manor steps in board. Didn't know what to do. Panicked. Kicked it straight into the Farrell. Ball ricochets out. Cameron may have been taken without it. Certainly milked it. No whistle. McKinlay at the handball to Moraes, and then Wines. Port Adelaide get out of there. Up to Burgoyne, and now flirting with the boundary line. McKinlay's tackled over. May have walked it over before the contact in that tackle. So boundary throwing to come. I was going to say Noffy, so it's not, just a reminder, I don't want to sway your votes. It's not the best player on the ground for the Badco medal. It's the player who embodies the Anzac spirit. So maybe Mitch Georgiades has fired a few shots tonight, and that can count. I don't know. He's 4'7", 4'6", so
4'6".
What'd you say? 6'7".
It's getting loose.
Vicentini in the ruck contest knocks it down, and as Horn Francis was trying to go for that footy, got one a little high, so he wins the free kick. Kicks over the top to Burgoyne in the logo. One of the goal kickers this term. And a 50-metre penalty. A player, I think it was Atkins, was on the stand and then just walked away. I mean, that's an easy adjudication as you'll ever get. So Burgoyne's going to be walked up to the 40-metre mark on a 45-degree angle away to the left.
The wheels have really fallen off, haven't they, too? Don't see this a lot.
Just uncharacteristic little errors that Geelong are usually slick. A professional team, I would say, Jamo.
Un-Geelong-like, you could probably say as well. So Burgoyne, who kicked one out of the ground, tries to do it again. That might not make the distance. It's away to the right. Fisted there over the line in the end. Or a little too hard, Jace Burgoyne. So minus score. Port 12-16-88. Geelong 8-4-52. 13 minutes gone in this final term.
47 hit-outs to 21, Port Adelaide. And inside 50s, 51-31. It could have been an absolute monstering, but it's 36 points with still 12 minutes remaining.
Cats kick it out to the eastern side. 3-on-3 there. O'Sullivan spent the mark before he earned it. Gathers, gave it to Atkins, tumbled forward by Ollie Henry. Tries to follow up the tackle on Burn Jones, holding the ball. He just dropped it. Free kick Geelong, they got to go. Ollie Henry up to left half forward, targeting Dangerfield, 2 to beat. Hard fist comes in from Lai. Patrick Dangerfield just looks a little sorry for himself tonight. He's been battling a fair bit. Boundary throw in near the Rashudo stand. Freo by 19 in Perth as well. Second quarter against Carlton. You can hear it on ABC Listen.
We thought Patrick Dangerfield might have the impact, and that's where they want to put him up forward, but you just find he's just really struggling with that body work.
Neil knocks it down to Holmes. It's been kept quiet for his usual standards. Up towards Vicentini, to Wines, to Horn Francis. He hasn't been quiet. He's been busy. Up towards centre wing. Gathered in the end by Guthrie. Pumps it back inside the forward 50 for Geelong. Oh, Jeremy Cameron with an almighty fly. Dangerfield roved it. Handballed to Warple, who snaps the goal. So Geelong get one back against all the momentum of the play. They go to 9-4-58. Port a 12-16-88. That's a 30-point margin coming up to the halfway mark of the fourth quarter.
That's what he can do, can't he? Jeremy Cameron, we know he's dangerous at any time. Patrick Dangerfield takes the tackle, hands above his head, keeps the football alive and gets it into a dangerous spot and Geelong finish.
I know you love the pocket profile, Jamo. That incident was like James Warple describing his favourite form of peanut butter out of Crunchy and Smooth. He said smunchy.
Yeah,
and I think that was the collapse of the pack. It was a bit smunchy and he got through and kicked the goal.
Something else a bit weird too.
Just trying to follow up Tom Wilson's flatbread from the cricket season.
You manoeuvred it through, yeah.
Edwards taps it down for Geelong, bounces to Horn Francis. Beautiful release of Zach Butters. Under one arm, he goes for a run. Surges towards the attacking edge, but the kick is not the cherry on top. Only finds Jack Henry in defensive 50. He wants to go quickly for the Cats. They're currently down 32. 30 points, I should say. Heads out to the broadcast wing. Jack Martin's there. Down the line he goes. And outnumbered. Here's Ollie Henry. Intercept mark by Josh Lai. Left half back for Port.
So Light, short to Aaliyah in front of the benches.
What do you do the night before a game, Eb?
Sleep, eat.
Well,
Aaliyah to Jason Horn-Francis, go Jamo.
Well, James Warple says he sleeps, he walks and cleans the house.
I'm a big cleaner on a day game.
Oh,
yeah, I absolutely am. The girls think I'm weird.
Horn-Francis inside the forward 50, roved by Drew. There was a free kick in the contest and it's going to go the way of the Cats. It didn't look like there was a few things untoward going on. I wish I could sleepwalk and clean. That would be great, wouldn't it?
I didn't know where you were going with the sleep and walk. I'm thinking, is he sleepwalking pre-game? That's a ritual.
The Dempsey, little 1-2 as he links up with O'Sullivan. Continues to run, but Tanner Bruin won't reward him. He kicks inbound towards Neil, who collapses into the foot. He can't control it. Bobbles out to Horn Francis. Spun a nearly a 720, got it out. Where to Wines. He's a bit lucky there, the Hornet. Gives it back to Wines. Dukes the handball. That's a berry. It was a hard one. Guthrie comes in with the hard tackle. Ball up to come near the Bashir stand. Port by 30. We've got 10 to go in this final quarter. Freo by 13 midway through the second in Perth against Carlton. Tap down, spinning tackle from Wines, late on Atkins. Play continues. Horn Francis rips it out of there. Hands it to Butters, then Bergman. There's a trio of superstar names up towards the attacking edge. Early fly from O'Sullivan. Didn't really commit to the mark. Now picks it up on the bounce. Tackled, handballs a little wide. Drew's there for Port Adelaide. Gets it towards Sweet, who toes it back towards Wines. Gives it to Butters. Off balance, hooks it back towards the 50. Georgiades flies against two. Can't take it. Bowes, though, in trouble at the fall of foot. He's spun. There he got him. Ball shoots out. And will be held up 40 from home. The Power faithful loving the effort tonight. They're up by 5 goals and they're inside 50.
The Umps have put the whistle away the last couple of minutes. Both Geelong and Port Adelaide players end up doing a couple of circles holding the footy.
Sweet knocks it straight down to Whitlock. Snap around the body a bit higher than he would have liked. And it will bounce against the post after Jack Henry knocks it in that direction. So another minus score. 12-17-89. Geelong 9-4-58. 18 and a half gone in the final term.
What's your coffee order then, Eb?
Don't drink coffee, Jamo.
Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it?
Zach Guthrie goes long to the broadcast swing in the pack. Josh Lai. Statement game for the youngster tonight. Comfortably his best of the campaign. Centering kick to Jordan Sweet, who's had also had a terrific night, and that's a perfect kick. Up towards Corey Durden, 48 out, tight to the left. He's thinking about it, Corey. Why not? It's been his night. He's had two.
I just put it on Jordan Sweet's head. That's where I'd be going.
Well, he's gone down there, Jamo, so...
How good a game has he played tonight?
Corey Durden heads back to Burgoyne and they'll move it around the world. Through the centre square, Lockie Jones and now to right half forward to Darcy Burn-Jones. He's a bit too far out to score, but went back as if he was trying to milk the 30. The umpire's not going to give it to him. So he'll head back to Lockie Jones. They are running down the clock and there's 8 minutes to go. Geelong not really showing much pressure. And they pinpoint their way through.
He could hit this, Bergman.
Lockie Jones to Bergman, man on the marks. At 55, Bergman decides to go to the scoreboard pocket and reward Jack Whitlock, who races out on the tight angle, takes it 20 from home. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Yeah, not a heap of pressure, and most of their big guns on the bench now. So Dangerfield, Smith and Stewart, as well as the other ruckman, Edwards and Blitzars, out of the game. Dangerfield, again, getting that calf worked on by Dr. Steve Saunders. So I just wonder if that's going to be a story heading into Cats' next game against North Melbourne next weekend.
Jack Watkins getting a rest as well after his third game in 6 days. The late in.
He deserves one.
Jack Whitlock near the light tower. Couple of steps close to the man on the mark. He'll kick across the face. They fly a couple of Cats. Richards is there. Handball not clean. Atkins nearly had a bit of trouble. Jordan Sweet was coming the other way. Gives it to Bose, who sold the dummy on Richards and dropped the footy and then clotheslines the small forward for the power. Jack Bose has had a mare. That is a disastrous play. Tried for the highlight reel. The bounce didn't come back. And then he collars the forward. Set shot to come for Port.
Talk about Geelong being uncharacteristic. That's not an Adelaide Oval bounce, is it? He's bounced that and it's gone almost 90 degrees.
Joey Richards.
Someone didn't replace the divot.
Gets the set shot 30 out. He'll start at left half forward. Career best season for him after arriving from Collingwood. Richards to make it a done deal. From 40, finishes in style. Port by 37 points. 13-17, 95 to Geelong's 9-4-58. Time on, final term on ABC Sport with Rod Jamieson and Ebony Marinoff.
9 goal scorers tonight, Port Adelaide, and I was a little concerned at the start as to where they were going to come from, but what a tremendous win, and the way that they've actually gone about it. The Cats have won the inside 50s against Port a lot in their games gone past. They've won several of their previous matches. They've belted them by an average margin of 40 points, and tonight is a massive turnaround, a big tick for the way Port Adelaide have played and taken it really to Geelong, particularly off the back of last week's gallant loss to Hawthorn.
It's all about backing it up, wasn't it,
Totally.
Jomo? Geelong kicked the first 2 goals of the game, and it was concerning, but since then it's been total domination. What a performance and confidence boost for the young team under Josh Carr. Clearance goes Horn, Francis, Butters, Wines. They've dominated tonight. Ware's got it outside on the wing. He sells some candy, still kicks it with his left foot, hits the target, finds Wines. So he's true centre wing, outer side of the ground. He's going to pop this up towards right half forward, up towards Richards, the goal kicker, who gets a fist in there and punches it out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in at right half forward, and Richards have to be his best game for the club, I think. 19 touches and put the cherry on top with a goal there just moments ago.
Bit of vintage Ollie Wines as well.
Yep.
Tossed in, right half forward for the power. Sweet down, tracking at Warple, caressed by Butters, who's breathing down his neck. And we'll get a boundary throw in again at the Wanganeen stands.
Horn Francis 31, Butters 29, Ollie Wines 27, Jace Burgoyne 23, and then throw in Dissentini and Sweet, who have got their hands to the footy when your gun and your Jets are getting hold of the football.
Tossed in, kneel down. Waiting there was Moraes, though, for the power. Got it to Horn Francis. Not sure how he got that ball away in the tackle. Just flung it back to Moraes, then back to the Hornet. Geelong players everywhere, but Port just keep finding a way through. Burgoyne back to Ware, then Butters spins away from Smith. Hands it to Georgiades, chips the kick into Wines. He's caught behind Mullen. Intercept mark for the Cats. Context in terms of what we're doing post-game. So for those listening, we're going to head to Fremantle and Carlton just after half-time at Perth Stadium. So we'll get the Badco medal here. Hopefully some reaction in the rooms as well.
So Geelong have transitioned the footy. Done it well. Ends up with Broon. Handballs it off to Bose at centre half forward. Looking for the target in Martin. He just kicked across the paint of 50. So he's still at centre half forward and marks. Be a slight angle away to the right. But he'll take a kick of 55.
Can hit it sweet, Jack Martin.
Very talented player.
That's got a knack of getting players back on track, haven't they, when they come from other clubs or injury troubles?
Most of the time for nothing as well. That's why they've been so good. Jack Martin from 55. Way to the right-hand side. Brad Close in front of Burne-Jones. Takes the mark on the behind line. Contested grab.
What about those two heavyweights? Oh, there was no one else anywhere near him.
Not normally what you see. You normally see a big pack, don't you, Jamo? Brad Close runs around on the left boot, slots it through. So a consolation one there for Brad Close and the Cats. They go to 10-4, 64-Port. 13-17, 95-25 gone in the final term.
30 scoring shots, to 14.
It's unbelievable. And you talk about the spirit of the game. I mean, I know we touched on it. Geelong just kicked the goal, but just looking at some stats, like Jordan Sweet's had his hand in 10 score involvements. Like, talk about setting the standard. I know they've gone with the 2 rucks over the last couple of weeks, but I've been super impressed with Port Adelaide's ability to win that kind of battle in the midfield. And you kind of feel bad when you talk about it pre-game. You certainly thought Geelong were going upper hand, but even Butters' way. What did you touch on, Aaron? I think you said 18 disposals Butters usually averages against Geelong, so he's had the 30, and impactful as well.
Continues a hot run for him as well. I think he's had 30 in the last 6 games now, Zach Butters. Out of the middle, free kick, Port Adelaide. Willem Drew has it in the centre circle. Freo by 14 at Perth Stadium, second term there against Carlton. Drew wide, Jason Horne-Francis, had enough space he could subdivide. No one's around him. Just forward of the logo.
Heads a few buys here at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah. Back on the 45 to Lie. And slams it up to right half forward. Front position Bowes, and he wants to go. Takes the mark and runs away. Long kick down the line. Jeremy Cameron had the hot start. Takes the mark at left half forward. 3 for the night to Jezza. Short chip over the top. Max Holmes, uncharacteristically unimpactful as well. He chips into the 50. Warple marks 35 out. Tight to the left.
How much a square metre at Adelaide Oval, you reckon, Jamo?
Premium. Be an absolute premium.
Get your own gardener as well. Damien Hoff will be there at your front lawn.
If you could eat anything you liked, what would it be, James Warple?
Smunchy peanut butter?
Nope. He's a cheesecake man.
Yeah.
Passion fruit, surely.
Baked. Got to be baked apricot.
James Warple for a consolation prize. Kicks it across the face and actually hits the right hand upright behind post. Out on the full free kick, Port. Their lead is still 31 points.
So Burgoyne short to Moraes. Goes the 1-2. Burgoyne in the left back pocket and switch the play to Burn Jones. And he's in the right back pocket. 31-point lead to the Power. Short to Farrell.
We talk a lot about 2 or 3 tools up forward. Like, you've got Whitlock, Georgiades, Sweet, Vicentini, and Todd Marshall's out tonight too, and he plays defence, but you can see it can actually work, and it could work well in this team.
Getting a snapshot into the future, that's for sure, and playing with a game style, they're quickly learning, Jamo. So Logan Evans at right half back. Kicks down the line. Vicentini gets the fist in there and it goes out over the boundary line. True centre wing, outer side of the ground. Port are leading by 31 points. Dying minutes. The crowd official certainly surged, I reckon, once they saw how it was going, Aaron. 41,164.
You making the trip from Alberton late on their Saturday night to witness a special upset. Vicentini down. Drew fumbles. Picked off by Bowes. Hands it to Warple. It was a tough one. He's smashed by Horne-Francis. Ball shoots towards the centre square. Bowes collapse on top of it. A couple of tackles later will get a ball up. Reset at the attacking edge. Vicentini missed the tap. There's a hold. Free kick going the way of Port Adelaide. Big Dante to take it. Defensive edge. They're up by 31 at the moment. He'll head wide. Short pass to Kane Farrell as they run down the final moments of this Anzac Day fiesta at the Adelaide Oval. Farrell down the line. Front position Sweet. Fumbled through his mitts. Charging by, though. Joe Berry gathers on the hop. Kicks to the 50. Georgiades outmarked by O'Sullivan. Geelong have it in defensive 50.
They could lose by a lot more if it wasn't for O'Sullivan tonight. I think he's played pretty well. When you go Joe Berry, Burgoyne, Moraes, Evans, McKinlay, Richards and Lau, like, it's actually a lot of youth that's coming through.
Certainly so. So going inside the forward 50 is Bowes. Dangerfield flies, keeps his feet, gathers, handballs to Jeremy Cameron, who's waiting. It trickles away from him. He sockets it off the deck and it goes away to the left. Just wouldn't sit for the big man. If it did, would have been a certain goal, would have been his fourth. Port go to 13-17-95. Geelong 10-5-65.
What an incredible night. Port Adelaide have an intrinsic link with the Australian Defence Force. 22 consecutive years they've hosted an Anzac appeal game. They do so much for the community. It means a lot to them, this fixture, and tonight they're going to pull off a huge win. Clearing kick to the broadcast wing, drew down the line, bounces awkwardly. One-on-one waiting there. Georgiades gets through. O'Sullivan hands it back to Richards. Sweeping handball, trying to get it back into the path of Georgiades. He's arcing around and nearly walked it over. Handballs to himself. Georgiades. O'Sullivan kept tracking. Humphreys hands it to Bailey Smith. Geelong will escape without a late penalty. And Port Adelaide pull off a catastrophe. Josh Carr's got the engine humming. Port Adelaide with a massive Anzac Day upset. They knock off the Cats by 30 points at the Adelaide Oval. 13-17-95 to 10-5-65. It was Geelong with the hot start, kicking 4 of the first 5 goals, but Port Adelaide went on an absolute tear after that. 7 of 9 goals either side of half-time. After being down 16, they got the lead up to 25 points. Geelong had a little late effort, wasn't enough. Port Adelaide with a big final term, and would have been more had they been a bit more accurate. Mitch Georgiades finishing the game 4-6 on the night. Around him, 2 to Corey Durden, singles to Richard, Sweet on Francis, Bergman, Moraes, Burgoyne and Farrell. They won't care how they got it done. Port Adelaide are 3 and 4 inside the top 10, and they've knocked off Geelong for the first time in 4 fixtures. Is that the massive momentum boost that gets the Josh Carr era off and running? It is a huge boil-over for Geelong, who, as we touched on in the pre-game, have looked tremendous in the early stages of the season, but ultimately fall short by a big margin tonight. 30 points, 13-17-95 to 10-5-65. Also came at the cost of Mark Blitzavs with a hyperextended lateral ligament issue for the 301st gamer for Geelong. So Chris Scott falls just shy of 250 wins. He'll have to try and do it next week when Geelong make their way back to Melbourne and play North Melbourne on Saturday at Kardinia Park. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, a bit of a boost before showdown 59 certainly makes it a very intriguing setup. We'll get all the thoughts of our experts, the song in the rooms, and some reaction as well in a very short moment's time, and then we'll take you to Perth Stadium for the second half of Fremantle and Carlton. That's also looking like a cracking game. Dockers by 7, time on in the second term. Just waiting for the presentation of the Peter Badco medal downstairs, so we'll keep Ebony Marinoff tight-lipped. She's been voting on it tonight, and that's a pretty tough task. There are a few star players across the evening, but Rod Jamieson, what did you make of Port Adelaide's win?
Well, I thought the way they played really from probably, particularly in the second half, but partway through the second quarter, I thought they really did change the way that they played. They really chipped forward, they held onto it, and they made it difficult for the Geelong defence to be able to cope. And then, Tom Atkins over the back to come and get that third man up, and they help each other a lot there. Zach Guthrie, they always sort of do that type of football, but I thought that's a very clear game plan tonight. Got over the top, and not only did they just get across the line, like it gave them so many opportunities to actually have a shot on goal. 58-35 in the end in favour of Port Adelaide.
Let's head downstairs and join our MC, Jared Walsh, for the presentation of the Peter Badco Medal.
It is with great pleasure that we now present the Badco Medal, which is named in honour of the late Major Peter Badco VC, who was the last South Australian to be awarded the military's highest honour for bravery, the Victoria Cross. Major Badco's Victoria Cross was awarded for not one, but 3 actions of bravery in Vietnam, which occurred between the 23rd of February and 7th of April 1967. The winner of tonight's medal has been selected by 5 industry representatives. Tonight, the medal will be presented by Badco's niece, Gillian Smith. The winner of the Badco Medal, whose conduct and play during tonight's game best exemplifies the Anzac spirit, displaying skill, courage in adversity, self-sacrifice, teamwork and fair play, from the Port Adelaide Football Club, Jason Horne-Francis.
34 touches, 12 clearances, 10 first possessions and a goal to his name. Jason Horne-Francis becomes the 13th Port Adelaide player to win the Peter Badco Medal on Anzac Day for the Power. And after his injury-riddled pre-season, he has built into the campaign so nicely. Here he is downstairs.
First of all, Geelong, we get the honour to play on this day, and it was great. You're a great competition. You're the benchmark, and you've been the benchmark for a while now, so good job and good luck for the year. To everyone that come out tonight, it's a great night. We get the honour to play on this night for the people that served us, and we're so grateful for that, and we honour the people that come before us and fought for this country, so we appreciate it, and it's good to see so many of the force here today, so thank you very much. Cheers.
Jason Horne-Francis, your Peter Badco medalist. Happy with the result, Ebony Marinoff?
Can I share?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I can tell that all the votes now that I said.
You can, yeah, you're all
I've signed
clear.
a bloody, I thought Jason Horne-Francis, in terms of the complete game and the spirit, sensational, and you'd have to argue Jason Horne-Francis' butters over the last fortnight have certainly lifted. But as impressive Jason Horne-Francis was, Jordan Sweet's stats statistically is at 12 disposals, 284 metres gained, 31 hit-outs, 13 of them to advantage, and 9 score involvements. In terms of embodying the Anzac spirit, I thought he was tremendous, so I had to give him the 2. I've written about 6 names here for the 1 vote because it was such an even game. It was so impressive to see, so many of the young players stand up. I could have given it to about 6 players, but I had to go with Butters, the captain in place. I just thought his ability to break that tag more or less in the second quarter, throwing himself at every single contest, ability to bring his other teammates into the game. I couldn't go past him, but probably a little special mention to Georgiades. If he'd kicked the 10 or so, maybe I would have locked him in for the 1. But Richards also, I just thought his ability to get himself in the game and compete and use his footwork was impressive. And Wines was, what are you going to say, back to your best in one game? But I thought he was cleanest I've seen in a little while, Aaron.
Felt like the Anzac game between Essendon and Collingwood earlier, where everybody went 3 votes Scott Pendlebury, and then it was a mixed bag afterwards where you could just take your pick out of the star players. And I feel like there might be a few that'll say Butters too, but I'm with you, Noffy, that even though 30 touches just stands out, it's more the damage and the impact. And Jordan just toiled away tonight and did some things we've never seen him do before.
Well, you got 17 contested, 18 uncontested, 12 clearances, 4 inside. Like, that is a
huge
good game.
Yeah, for the Hornet, yeah. It's a career high.
Yeah.
So those carry over as our ABC Footballer of the Year votes as well. 3 to Jason Horne-Francis, 2 to Jordan Sweet, and 1 to Zach Butters as Port Adelaide celebrate their 3rd win of the campaign, 3-4 now. In Geelong, 4-3. After their 75-point win over the Western Bulldogs, they have a big turnaround. So it's a 30-point loss here tonight in front of 41,164. What does it do for the footy club, Noffy? That this is a huge result. I don't think anyone had tipped Port Adelaide to get this done.
I'm just looking at the ladder here. Like, I have the tips, and I certainly didn't get that done. I think this is huge in context of the game, and You'd probably argue if you're sitting in the change rooms during the week and what last week's game meant for.
Yep.
They're building. And we're going to talk about Carb coming in at the start of the year. What was that going to take? We've seen over the start of the season that it's a different game style. But if people are going to expect Port Adelaide to come out and be cherry ripe and, have that continuity and that real cohesion in round one, it just wasn't going to be that way. And hopefully Port Adelaide fans are staying with it and staying calm, because as much as Bliscar's, finished the quarter, that's a vintage game of the whole team. That's what it's going to take for Port Adelaide this year. They're going to need every single contributor, even with Marshall going out. He hasn't been in amazing form, but that's just another experienced player that is replacing Watkins in a kid.
Yep.
So I just think you take massive amounts of confidence from that game. And again, going back to the Butters, I feel like they're talking about it because when he is tagged, we've seen he's the most fine player in the competition. He gets on edge and he gets a bit ruddy and, he makes mistakes and uncharacteristic, but characteristic for him. I feel like maybe it's the fine and everything that happened over the last couple of weeks with the umpires. Or it's the captaincy that now with Connor Rosie out. I thought it was calm, composed, and Jason Horne-Francis, he had a bit of an interrupted pre-season. He's hitting his straps, his career best with 34 touches tonight, and I know we touched on it within the call, but Port Adelaide choosing to play the two rucks has worked for them over the last fortnight, and you'd say you'd go with that with the 5 people on the bench.
I think Josh Carr would say they've executed the game plan almost to a T outside of that first quarter.
Yeah, spot on. And he would have said that last week too against Hawthorn, where they got away from him. It's such a fascinating thing because there's always so much talk about Zach Butters, what his future was going to be. Well, Port Adelaide fans will be pretty proud of how he's leading the team, and a presentation as a team performance is to say, why does he have to leave? Doesn't necessarily have to leave.
Port Adelaide winners by 30 points over Geelong. Let's head into the rooms with Braden Ingram.
Best win of the Josh Carr era to date, and it's Aliir coming in first to be greeted by his young children. And it's a small but loyal group in here this evening. And, of course, it just sets the stage ahead of the showdown on Friday night and then another home game. So this could set themselves up for a little bit of a run as they're just about to gather. They're going to head straight into a meeting afterwards. Josh Carr, in a clip posted to socials after their win last week, said, don't drop your... Sorry, their loss last week, said, don't drop your head. Get back in on Monday. Take the positives. And they've certainly done that here to get the win over Geelong as they all gather up now, having claimed the victory on Anzac Day.
Got the power to win, with the power to rule. Come on, Port Adelaide aggression. We are the power from Port. It's more than sport, it's the truth. Port Adelaide tradition. We're going to stop to a top history. Got the power. We never get in till the flag is down, so let's take power.
Miss Georgiades, the goal kicker, or behind kicker, I should say, to join us shortly, guys.
They've done it without some of their stars as well. Ollie Lord, Jack Lukosha, Sam Palpepper, Asava Radagalier, Connor Rosie, Todd Marshall, and Port Adelaide pull off a 5-goal win over Geelong at the Adelaide Oval to win 13-17, 95 to 10-5, 65. Half-time over at Perth Stadium, so Fremantle leading Carlton by 11 points. 8-4-52 to 6-5-41. You won't miss a minute of the action in the second half. We'll get you there very shortly once we've heard from Mitch Georgiades.
I'm fascinated to chat with him. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because 10 scoring shots. He dropped 2 on the chest as well, remember, inside the forward 50. Like, he could have kicked 8 without really even changing much in his game. So it'll be fascinating to speak to him. For Port Adelaide, I've found the discussion around them this season so far quite fascinating. Obviously, a lot of talk about what their players are going to be doing in terms of Zach Butters, in terms of Mitch Georgiades was thrown in there, which we'll talk about, that his former Lions coach, Chad Corn, said that he's going to leave as soon as his contract's up. And this term came across that they've got a bunch of list cloggers on their list, that they're the 17th best team in terms of the next team to win a premiership. Well, a performance like that really flies in the face of that, and I'd have to say it's been disappointing, probably the lack of focus on how they've actually been playing. You take away round 1, And their performances have actually been pretty consistent outside of that. They lost to West Coast, which no doubt they would have been very disappointed about. But other than that, they've taken it to probably the premiership favourites last week. Could have won that game. And Geelong coming off thumping the Western Bulldogs by 75 points. They've absolutely handed it to them tonight.
It's underwhelming for Geelong. Like, we were pumping Port Adelaide up because what an amazing win in terms of the spirit of the game and a bit of a blockbuster that Port Adelaide, fans may come here tonight thinking, this could get ugly, and it looked like it was going to get ugly in the first 2 minutes. But, yeah, I just think really disappointing for Geelong. And no momentum shift, really.
It's weird how they've had some really big wins this season, Geelong, and the 1 point loss to Hawthorn could have gone either way. That was likely going to be a draw if it wasn't for that freak behind from Jack Gunston. But outside of that, they've put together a really good campaign, and you kind of wonder, outside of the opening round blowout, 56 points to Gold Coast, and tonight they've knocked off Freo, Adelaide, West Coast and the Bulldogs. They're all teams that are expecting to play finals, so it's very Jekyll and Hyde to be so good against some of the better teams and then have two really egregious losses.
Well, I think, the competition's hard. I'd probably go back to your commentary, Tom. Like, I think coming to the game, I think there was a lot of comments like you've highlighted. I think it's almost justified. They lost to the Kangaroos, they've lost to West Coast Eagles, and they've only beaten Richmond and Essendon. Now, I'm not a big one to say, you just bank your wins. It doesn't matter against what team, but like tonight, probably 3/4 last week against the Hawks, you go, okay, something's happening. But I thought the way that they really dictated the terms after they got challenged early, and they were able to maintain that for long periods of time, and a lot of their unexpected stars or their youth was coming through that performed really well. But again, what they did well tonight is their key leaders and their quality players stood up as well.
That's true.
So if they don't stand up, then I have a challenge around how this list then looks. But to see Jordan Sweet attack the game like he did tonight, like in all facets of it, that's as good a game as I've seen him absolutely play. And you're right, Mitch Georgiades, like, he's had 6 shots on goal in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just staggering. So, like, there was a lot to take out of it. And like Jacob Ware, when he went to GWS and he came back, I thought he would be great because I actually liked the way he played on the outside at the Giants. But tonight I thought he probably struggled. Durden, when he came across, I thought, okay, here we go. But he's showing that he can really be quality up forward. Bergman played all right, but we know that he's actually a good quality player, but he was okay. So I thought, again, that the players that we spot, like Moraes was great, Richards again was great. We listed them earlier too. I thought they really stepped up, and that's maybe the challenge of coming up against good quality opposition. That's what they now need to do on a regular occurrence, as opposed to getting up for a big game.
That's true, and that's going to be the test. So they've done it 2 weeks running. They didn't win last week. And, for Josh Carr, he can only use what he's got.
Yes.
As long as those players are improving, he'll be happy with that. But I think the comment that you made, what you referenced last week about, or it might have been Braden in the change rooms, about don't hang your heads, lads. We've played well. We didn't win. We're extremely disappointed, but let's keep moving forward. And for them to back it up tonight, it's a big step.
And the Cats have got a big month ahead now. I mean, they play the Kangas at home at Cardinia Park. Then they take on Collingwood, Brisbane and Sydney. That's their next month. So they've got a lot of improvement. And they're the sort of team that bounce back pretty quickly. They don't linger or too long. And the next one's at home, so you think they'd almost get that done. But then it's Collingwood at the MCG, Brisbane at the Gabba, and then they're back home down at Cardinia Park to take on Sydney. So their month is big.
Well, we haven't even touched on what this means in terms of the context of the showdown in 5 to 6 days. You know what I'm like in terms of momentum and what they're building, and I love listening to Kari speak because he's passionate and but showdowns in 5 to 6, and we all know what showdowns are like.
One man who's going to play game 100 in the showdown next week is Mitch Georgiades, and he's downstairs with Braden Ingram after Port's 30-point win.
Well, Mitch, congratulations on the win. Jason Horne-Francis won the medal. Have you said to him that should be around your neck, possibly?
No, certainly not. He played a splendid game. He was on fire. When he gets like that mood, he's pretty hard to stop. But yeah, certainly I probably should have kicked a little bit straighter.
Talk to us about that. You slotted that one in the pocket at the end of the game. You put that one through, but when they were much closer, it seemed to be much more challenging for you.
Yeah, Kenny said it before. I do the hard easy and the easy hard. So, I'm somehow kicking from 50 on the boundary, but 20 metres out in front, I can sometimes miss that one. But, I'm happy with getting shots. I've got a solid routine. I've got to keep working on it. But, it was a great performance when the ball's coming down like that. At certain stages, it's certainly fun as a forward.
It was almost like, for you, sometimes the ball had soap on it, but not for anyone else. Was there a reason why that just weren't sticking for you?
Yes and no. I think you put yourself in some good positions to get it. And I know I'm not going to take them all, but it just shows there's growth still to be had in my game and in the team in general as well. But like you said, when the ball's coming down like that, it's certainly nice to get on the end of a couple.
Talk to us about the team performance. Not many people gave you hope, even after that performance where you had that chance to win the game yourself against Hawthorn last week. So how did this come together tonight?
Yeah, I think you touched on our last probably 7 quarters of footy been pretty solid. We're building something pretty strong together. Obviously, we're a new group with coaches and players, and obviously we know Geelong are a really strong outfit and what they're going to bring. So for us, it starts around the ball. Our contest getting that right, and then the rest of it can take care of itself. And I think we did that pretty well tonight.
How much has it been about betting in the new game plan and getting used to what Josh wants? Was there a little bit of teething at the start to get used to?
Oh, certainly. I think as a group, there's so many new boys that are coming in and playing their first couple of years in the system, and certainly with the coaches, not just Josh, but all the line coaches are new as well. So we're all building connections, and each game's only going to make us better. It was a nice one tonight.
What did the big ruckman Jordan Sweet eat for breakfast this morning? He was incredible.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive, both Viz and Sweetie, when they get going. They're contested beasts, and they're pretty big boys, so we certainly like it. I know the mids love it when they get on top.
Last time before we go upstairs, obviously the showdown on Friday night. It's a home showdown for the Crows. They're always close no matter where you are on the table, but given the fact they've only got a 5-day break, you guys seem to be flying now. Do you give yourself an absolute red-hot crack to upset them?
Oh, we know the Crows are a great outfit, and we expect them to come out firing. Like you said, every showdown, doesn't matter what form, is generally close, and for us it's just about continuing to build. We'll go back, review the game throughout the week, and look forward to playing on Friday. It's a great game.
Take it away, team.
Yeah, Mitch, Rod Jamieson, great win, and personally too. Some of the, lesser knowns respectfully, but I thought Christian Moraes' game tonight was exceptional.
Yeah, Christian's been really good. He's been working really hard over the pre-season. His probably season didn't start the way he liked it to, but he has a knack of finding the footy, and he does some pretty good things when he has it in his hands as well. So it's really exciting to see him build.
Mitch, Ebony Marinoff here. Congratulations on your game. I just want to get your insights of the game of Zach Butters. Obviously, he's been challenged before when playing Geelong against Mullen. How did you see him work through that tag?
Yeah, he said it going into the game. Mullen's got the better of him a couple of times. He admitted that, but he wanted to really go out there. He's a competitive beast, and one thing with Zach, he's not going to give up. So he went out there and he played a great game as well.
Mitch, game 100 in a showdown. Tell us what that'll mean to you.
Yeah, it's amazing. It goes pretty quickly. 100 games it's really exciting, and to play in a showdown where that means so much to this town and to this club, it's going to be exciting. I want to look forward to it.
Forgive me for asking as well, but want to give you the right to reply. Chad Corns stirred up trouble by saying you were thinking about going back west. Any truth to that, or is your heart at Alberton?
Heart's at Alberton. Let's just focus one game at a time.
How much do you chat to Chad? Because I think Josh, your coach, said he'd have no idea.
I haven't spoken to Chad for a bit, not just because of that, but just in general. Really close with Chad. Worked with him for the last 7 years of my career, and I get on really well with him. So, but he's throwing me under the bus there for one.
In terms of the relationship with Josh Carr as well, Mitch, he'd obviously be overjoyed with what happened tonight, but can you just walk us through, the tumultuous start to the year and the bit of pressure that came early and how you've been able to get through it?
Yeah, one thing with Carr, he's been really calm throughout the whole start of the season. Obviously, there's been a few ups and downs, and for him, it's to stay level-headed and to reiterate the game plan's going to work. We just got to keep sticking at it. So we've loved working with him so far.
Mitch, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the performance, and maybe we'll see 10 from you next week.
Let's hope so. Thanks, guys.
Mitch Georgiades downstairs after Port Adelaide's 30-point win over Geelong. 4 goals, 6 he kicked. But, it certainly was a very impressive performance, and make of that what you will. It wasn't exactly a He's wrong. It was a...
I think he said, threw him under the bus. My
Yeah.
heart's at Albion, I think. Was,
What about our illustrious leader? All asked one question, you've asked three, and then Port Adelaide, you're going to get another phone call
The
tomorrow
reason
morning.
why I do that back-ended is because I know how much time we have left, Jamo, and it saves me so we can get out and get everybody to
Let's
Perth
get 'em to
Stadium.
Perth.
Fremantle and Carlton, the second half coming your way very shortly. The Dockers are up by 11. Just final thoughts. We've got a couple of minutes to spare. We've already done our votes with Horn Francis 3 and the Badco medal, Sweet 2 and Butters 1. But you kind of alluded to it before the interview, Noffy. What does Showdown 59 look like, Jamo?
Oh,
Love them.
oh, what does it look like, or what does this one look like? I thought you were asking Jamo. I just think we're in for a blockbuster. You'd argue that Adelaide have been pounded with a few injuries. Obviously, Dan Curtin played in the sample today. Jake Saligo missed selection coming back from a small ankle injury and had 36 and kicked 2. Alex Neil-Bullen is out with a little kneecap injury. Port Adelaide over the last couple of weeks, Hawthorn are an in-form competition. I think they're premiership favourites right now, and Port Adelaide certainly took it to them. And Adelaide, they've got the 3-3, but I don't know whether it's underwhelming. I feel like the close games and the injuries and the unsettlement of the team certainly haven't got the 4-2 or the 5-1. But Friday night, we're here for a blockbuster, I reckon, Jamo.
I love a Thursday and I love a Friday. I don't know why the AFL then do 2 games on a Friday night, but it's certainly like the Showdown is a Friday night blockbuster, and so is this the first time it's actually been on a Friday night?
No, we've had a few, and
I've had a few.
they've always been overlaps. And this is the funny part. You've got Damien Barrett saying it's so big that we should have it at the MCG, and then on the other hand, it's not big enough that it can be a standalone game. It's on the AFL bingo card every year. They've got to make amends.
And it's at 7:40. 7:40.
It's a late one. Noffy, thanks for your work tonight. Congratulations on getting the right 3 votes in the Peter Badco medal.
That would have been awkward. I'm really intrigued for the one. Where do we find that, Aaron? Because I want it now.
They'll release them for sure.
Okay.
Great work as always, Jamo. Good to see you.
Thank you, man.
We'll
Well
catch
done.
you
And
next
Ed.
week. Braden Ingram downstairs as well. Great to see Tom Wilson tonight. A huge thanks to Dom and Adam, our techs back in the studio and here at the ground. Port Adelaide winners by 30 points over Geelong. 13-17. 95. Could have been even bigger. 10-5-65 the Cats. They'll lick their wounds at 4-3 as they turn towards North Melbourne at home next weekend. Port Adelaide have the Showdown at 3-4. Jason Horne-Francis, the Peter Badco medalist, with 34 touches, 12 clearances and a goal to his name. Jordan Sweet with 2 and Zach Butters with 1. He had 30 touches despite being tagged by O'Sheen Mullen. It is a huge win for Port Adelaide under Josh Carr. Emotion filled on Anzac Day, and we're not done yet. Coming up next after the break, the second half of Fremantle and Carlton with Clint Wilden and Mitch Turner.
Banger.
Ursula Carlson, No Filters, brand new comedy.
Contracted early onset Karen.
Ursula starts Wednesday, April 29 on ABC TV and ABC iView.
This is Anzac Day Footy
with ABC Sport.
The second term underway, and they get the first clearance, and surging forward Jackson, who won it down, he gets it back. Sutkowski, 51 out from goal. Jackson, what a start to the second quarter. Was Haynes giving it away? Oh, that's a lovely kick from Tracy. Pinpoint accuracy to Amos, looking to curl it around. It wasn't far away. It's a goal. What about the big dramatic pause from the goal umpire? Going to be across the face. Big Mark though, rising up together. Works his way around to his right and puts it through for his second.
Advantage taken by Bolton. Inside 50, Tracy just reached over Jacob Wiedering and absolutely alphaed him. Tracy, deliberate approach, deliberate kick. Perfect finish. He's got 3.
Inside forward 50 for the Blues. Brendan Cox with the spoil. Spilled there to Evans, who snaps and goals. An umpire spots a free kick. It's going Carlton's way. Have a look in a moment. Meantime, here comes McGovern from right in front from 30 out. Kicks the goal. Brings it back to a single-digit margin.
Sutkowski, ground level was good. The Sarong kicks into Mason Cox, who marks out in front of Jacob Wiedering on the lead. Set shot on the way. He's got the purple tinted goggles on now as he turns to the crowd, tugs on the Guernsey.
Anzac Day Footy on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and on ABC Listen.
And a warm welcome to the rest of the nation who've joined us from A big win for Port Adelaide, their victory over Geelong. Here, Fremantle have an 11-point advantage over Carlton. They led by 8 points at quarter time. It's now 11 points at the main break. Been a few big moments before the game even started. Ollie Hollins was a late withdrawal. Managed was the official word from the Blues, which meant Matthew Cottrell was a late in. And then there was a fitness test downstairs where you noticed Patrick Boss being put through his paces, and he was a late withdrawal as well. Ill, the official word from the Fremantle Dockers, which meant Sharp had to come in, Jeremy Sharp, for his first game of the season. So they're the changes that had to be made before things even got underway. And then Josh Tracy looked to get a solid knock to his right arm, right across the elbow as he was trying to take possession of the football. Was hit by Matthew Carroll of Carlton. He stayed out there and has been able to kick 3 goals so far for the Dockers. Jai Amos has got 3, while Brody Kemp's got 3 for the Blues, and Mitch McGovern has 2. It is half-time. We're about to get underway. The Blues in their white away uniform. The Dockers are wearing a special Anzac Day uniform. It's got the emu plumes rather than the white chevrons on the front of their purple jumper. This is the Len Hall game, the 29th annual Len Hall tribute game, and the 5th time that these sides have gone head-to-head in it, and 2-2 so far. 8-4-52 the Dockers, 6-5-41 Carlton. Mitch Turner's got a few of the other numbers in front of him. Mitch?
Big night for Nick Newman, 16 touches for him. Sam Walsh with 15, Haynes Cripps, Lord Chera with 10. For the Dockers, Shea Bolton, 14 touches, 7 of those inside 50s, 12 for Clark, Brayshaw and Sarong.
This is cheeky on the text line, by the way, 0437 774 774. Tristan from Footscray. Are Carlton fielding 18 players this week? Because last week against the Pies, it felt like we only had 17 on the field for much of the game. That's cheeky from you, Tristan. The Blues are right in this. Do not worry about that if you're a Carlton supporter, because they've applied some genuine pressure on Fremantle at times throughout this evening. Let's see what the second half entails. Mitch Turner on ABC Sport.
Jackson v. Reedy in the ruck, comes the way of Cripps for Carlton, off to Walsh, pushed as he kicked. It goes straight to Jordan Clark, who takes a nice intercept mark at centre half back. Handballs off to Luke Ryan, who goes short to Brayshaw. Luke Ryan went under a little fitness test at half time. Long chat to the medicos as well before he took a bit of medication, so he might be just struggling with something as well as he comes out towards Warner on the broadcast wing. Goes for a little run, kicks up towards left half forward. Tracy in front, can't mark. Wagner at ground level, taps it forward. Carroll's there for the Blues, taps it to his own advantage, falls to ground and then taps it out of bounds. Umpire's right there, calls it insufficient intent. Maybe he was trying to pick up the ball, maybe he was trying to tap it out. The umpire chose the latter option. It'll be a free kick to the Dockers. Luke Jackson will have it outside the boundary, 40 metres out from goal, left forward pocket. He was under a lot of pressure, Carroll, so it looked like he may have been trying to tap it to his advantage or pick it up. It's a free kick going the way of the Dockers, though. No, he tapped it out of bounds on the replay. Jackson runs around. Snap was nice, good connection. It was just always a little skinny. And it's a minor score, 8-4-5-3, 8-5-53 the Dockers, 6-5-41 Carlton. Margin is 12 points. If you're just joining us, kicked one of the goals of the year, Luke Jackson, earlier. Out of the middle, couple of involvements. Couldn't kick it on that occasion.
It was an absolute ripper as the Blues with the kicking go right up the middle. Big punch at the back came from Jackson, involved again. Cripps tried to dive on it. Couldn't gather. Sarong could for Fremantle to Murphy Reid. Kicks inside forward 50. Tracy had 3 to beat. Awkward bounce, but well read by Williams. Onto it quickly and spears a pass towards centre half back. Cripps again involved. Got the hand pass from Jagger Smith, who's involved a second time through the centre circles. Worked it on to Newman. Kicks inside forward 50. Great mark, Kemp. That was well worked by the Blues, and it will end up with them having a shot on goal, 45-degree angle to the left and putting boots a ball from about 45 metres out.
That's the risk with that proactive positioning that Fremantle defenders like to play. As soon as they get a little bit of a, I suppose, chain of possession through the midfield, it can really make them uncomfortable. And it was beautifully done by Cripps, Jagger Smith and Newman just to take the game on.
Kicked 4 goals against West Coast here late in the 2024 season. Can he match that tonight? Not with that kick. That is a stinker. He missed everything to the left-hand side. Even he's got a wry grin. That's a shocking kick on goal. No change to that score that sees Fremantle still lead by 12 points. 3 minutes into the third, the Dockers have the free kick at right full back.
Clark goes long down the southern side. Big fly from behind from Cowan. Knocks it down into the path of Johnson. Was tackled. Dispossessed. Umpire said got rid of it illegally. Free kick going the way of the Blues. It'll go to Zach Williams, attacking side of the logo on the southern side of Perth Stadium. Goes short as Walsh leading, taking the mark. Disposal number 17 coming up for Sam Walsh. Off a step, kicks it inside the forward 50, looking for a mark. None taken, out the back Pearce. Handball to Sarong. Dancing with the boundary line, under pressure. Great smother by Cripps. Sarong goes back and gets it. Gang tackled by Kemp and McGovern. Great work by the Blues skipper. Able to lock the ball in. It'll be tossed up, left forward pocket. About 25 metres around from the Blues attacking goal. Reedy with Jackson. Jackson tapped it down. Shark by Cripps. Sold the dummy. Went again on the second time. Couldn't get the kick away. Was tackled by Brayshaw. Holding the ball. Almost a big lift up by the Blues skipper. Not on this occasion. The Dockers win the free kick in the right back pocket. They still lead by 12 points.
Brayshaw, fluoro yellow boots on. Stabs it to Young. Hard up against the boundary line, deep in the right back pocket. Young gets told to move it on. He'll kick in the direction of the southern wing. Here's Cox. Couldn't get to it. Young went underneath it as well. Wiedering almost able to gather. Just poked a toe at it. Got it back to Cowan. Haynes mops it up. Goes back to Newman. The mark's been paid. It was right down low in front of him. Umpire said he was in the best position and was able to take the mark. He'll move it short to Williams. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Jagger Smith marked well under pressure. Gave it to Chera. Spears it up the corridor. Unable to take it cleanly then. Byrne got taken high, and he'll get the free kick. It'll come back to him. Dockers fans aren't happy, but it was there. Byrne moves it on. And to work it towards Walsh, who immediately kicks into the right forward pocket. Juggling! Not able to quite get there. Evans spilled out to Brennan Cox, to Warner, who turns it straight over. Diving out, Chera couldn't complete the mark. The Blues knock it inside forward 50. Young tries to gather. Got it on to Chapman, then to Warner, now to Wagner for the Dockers. Short pass finds Amos. They were able to hold the line, Fremantle. And Amos marks at left half back.
Kick to Brayshaw wasn't great. Didn't get to him on the full. Goes back to Wagner. Back to Amos. Snap up the wing looking to Bolton. One-on-one over the back with Williams. Wiedering gathered. Gave it back by hand to Williams. Steps inside. Kicks up towards half forward. Warner nudged out of it by Evans. Did well. Young at the back for the Dockers. Handball to Ryan. Now Warner retreats to Cox. Dangerous kick over across his defensive 50. Looking to Pearce. Kemp is there. Able to tap it to Haynes. Haynes trying to step around Johnson. Caught holding the ball. They got away with another one, the Dockers. They're living dangerously. As the Johnson kick into the middle was another dangerous one. Young made it good, took the mark, played on, ran into trouble. Looping handball to Clark, now to Brayshaw, running through the centre circle. Kick a little bit too hot for Tracy. One-handed mark by Wiedering. Kick favoured him and he made it good too. Nice grab from Jacob Wiedering. He can go into the left back pocket where Cowan can mark, and looking for Cripps on the outer side. Receives it on the bounce, keeps the ball in. Tucked up against the boundary line, inboard to Reedy.
Looks to play on immediately. Here's a chance for the Blues to surge forward. Walsh, not a great kick, but well gathered. Haynes scooped it up at left half forward. Kicks inside the attacking 50. The lead of McGovern's on it, and McGovern marks. 45-degree angle to the left. He'll put boots a ball from about 47 out.
Well, there you go, Shaz, just like you called it. When Fremantle defenders play really proactive and they lose body contact, the Carlton forwards have just read the ball way better than the Dockers defenders tonight. So another one, great mark by Mitch McGovern here.
So McGovern looking for his third from right on the 50. Kicks on its way. Blues fans rejoice. McGovern's got 3. And we're back to a 1-goal game. Fremantle 8-5-53, Carlton 7-5-47. The Dockers by 6 points, 8 gone in the third term.
He liked that one too, didn't he, Mitch? The way he celebrated. It was the change of angles, Cara, for me. I think although the kick didn't hit, I think Fremantle defenders anticipated him launching it inside, but he just went off the line a little bit to a lateral. Not lateral, Haynes was 30 metres forward, but off the line of play, and it probably was what caught the Fremantle defenders off guard. That is a very, like a NFL touchdown style celebration from Mitch McGovern.
He's got a lot of friends and family in the stands. Of course, the West Australian. Ball back in the middle. Jackson tapped it to Brayshaw. Spun out of traffic. Now takes a bounce. Handball forward. Lucas Witkowski. He runs into trouble. Gets it to Bolton. Bolton weaves in and out of traffic. Kicks to Frederick, who marks in the pockets. Quickly out of the middle go the Dockers. Frederick will have a chance. Tight angle to the left. Will kick from about 35-40 metres out. He's going to go around the corner.
Well done to Brayshaw there, just to really open up his shoulders out and steady.
This is how he wants to do it. He's going to go around the corner. Modern Michael Frederick snaps and goals. The Dockers get the reply immediately. And that is their 9th. 9-5-59. Carlton are 7-5-47. The margin restored at 12 points. 9 minutes into the third term here at Perth Stadium. Our experts, Cara Antonio and Sharad Wellingham.
Brayshaw with the 4 disposals early and 2 clearances, 2 contested possessions, and that inside 50. Again, he's had the heat on him during the week and really started this third quarter dominating outside of the centre stoppage.
It was a strange one because the ruck knock from Jackson was to his defensive side, but it wasn't like there was a wrap or anything from the Fremantle mids. It was just Brayshaw standing there waiting for it.
Joe's in the print shop in Freo working tonight, listening in to the ABC call. You're printing, Joe? Let us know. 0437 774 774 from the restart. Socced forward here by Lord. Blues got there, went in the direction of Evans. He was on the logo commentary wing. It was locked in to him by Judd McVie. Umpire to ball it up. Throws it up into the air. Jackson arrived late. Reedy got a tap, but sharked by Murphy Reid. Hands it off to Clark. Breaks one tackle of Cripps. Then to Jackson. Surging forward Erasmus. Now forced to backtrack. Chera corralled him. Goes to McVie. That's a poor kick. Wanted to go short to Murphy Reid. Met the other way by Hayward for the Blues. To Chera. Now to Reedy. Back to Chera on the logo. That's a hospital hand pass. Gave it straight to Cripps, who was tackled. Was able to still get a hand pass away. To Chera. To Hayward. To Lord. Now to Cowan. Kicks it towards right half forwards. And unable to keep it in was Moyer. Beg your pardon. It was Ainsworth who had it the previous disposal. It's across the boundary line nonetheless at right half forward for Carlton. Spun in again. One down by Jackson, front position. Oh, Cripps, the big don't argue. Got a hand pass out. Lord got tackled by Brayshaw. That'll be holding the... Oh, it's gone the other way.
Terrible call.
I thought that was holding the ball for all money, and instead they're giving a free kick the other way for Brayshaw, holding on to Lord in the tackle. Lord has popped it short and he's found a teammate inside forward 50 in Hayward. He's hard up against the boundary, about 47 out from goal. Two behinds tonight to Will Hayward. Margin is 12 points. He stands where Jack Newnes kicked that stunning goal a couple of years ago during the COVID years. Hayward, long kick towards the goal square. Jackson is up and he punches it through. Rushed behind. 7-6-48 the Blues, 9-5-59 the Dockers. 12 gone in the third.
McVie will have kick-in duties. Called to play on. Runs his allotted measure. Bumped as he kicks. All fair though. Kicks up towards Tracy. Knocks it down. Brayshaw there. Couldn't get to it first. It was taken by Lord, who was taken by Brayshaw. Jackson up against Lewis Young in the ruck. Jackson reaches over, tapped it, couldn't get it to a teammate. Murphy Reid as he's tackled. Handball's out in front of Brayshaw. Has to stop and prop. Now a dangerous kick inboard. Looking for Dudley. Crunched. Coming the other way by Cottrell. Ball spills to Ainsworth. He spills it. Comes down to Hayward. To Young. To Ainsworth. 50 out. Lowers the eyes. Hits the target on the lead in Moyer. And they've just stepped it up here, Carlton. Fremantle can't handle the pressure at the moment.
The difference
I think it was the call, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The break, who was going to be able to withstand the pressure and create more scoring opportunities from turnovers?
And hit skills. Disposal efficiency was massive.
Had a goal of the year nomination here a couple of years ago. Did Moyer. Kick is on the way. Umpire shimmies, but that's all good. All clear given. Moyer gets the goal and Carlton are back within one straight kick. Margins 5 points. 8-6-54 Carlton. Fremantle 9-5-59. Approaching the 14-minute mark of the third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
The pressure's been fantastic at the start of this quarter, Carlton. They're making Fremantle second-guess themselves, and 2 goals from turnover already in this quarter. Hitting skills, making the right decisions like they weren't in that first quarter, and you can tell Fremantle on the back foot a little bit at the start of this third.
They absolutely are. Peter and Julie listening in from Montana. They're getting ready to visit Yellowstone National Park. It's 5:30 in the morning over there. Go the Dockers, they say. They're under pressure at the moment. And the Blues will get the clearance from the restart. Cripps shovels it out to Young. Sends it deep inside forward 50. Big pack up. No mark taken. Hacked away here by the Blues. It comes out in the direction of Lord, who snaps around the body, and it's bouncing through and missing to the right-hand side. For a moment then, the hand pass from Evans went to Lord. I thought he had time to steady. Snapped at it, missed. Minor score. 4-point ball game. 14 gone in the third.
Long kick out from Ryan, looking for Tracy. Has Wiedering for company. Couldn't mark. Sarong spilt it. Now it falls to Young of Carlton. He's tackled. Ball up near the AFL logo on the broadcast side. Mason Cox in the ruck up against Lewis Young. Tapped it down to Sarong. He's got Lord for company. Drives him into the ground. They'll reset again. Ball toss high into the night. Cox down, only the way of Lord. Handball to Carroll. Backwards for Carlton. Gives it to Cowan. Runs a couple of steps. Now kicks inside forward 50. Looking for Moyer. Punched away by Ryan. Hayward has